Come on in. Come on in now. So, Auntie Lee, yeah, can do a thing. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hello. How is everyone doing this evening? Thank you for visiting and coming back to Kicking It with Auntie Leah. I'm so happy to see you guys in the house with me tonight. Let me see. Hey, Margie. Hey, Nick. Hi, Elena. Greetings, everyone. Please make sure you hit the like button as you come in. Share the live. And please make sure that you are subscribing to the channel and hitting your notifications button. How are you guys doing today? Did you guys have a good day today? Nice to see you as well, Alina. Well, I had to work today, of course, so my job is stressful. I don't always have good days, but you know what? Thank God for a job. Hey, Angela. Is it Angela or Angel? Just Angel. Welcome to my live. Thank you for coming back and visiting to me. Today, we're going to continue our segment. Nick, I'm going to drop the link if you want to come up. But today, we will be continuing our segment on hip hop is a graveyard. So it's Geo, like GL. Okay. All right. That's different. She don't want to come up. Excuses, Nick. Whatever. And whatever, girl. No, I'll cut you some slack. I totally get it. Gelé. Okay. Angela. Did I get it right that time? Angela. Nick, you didn't have to come up. I was going to cut you some slack, lady. I was just playing with you. If you're tired, you don't have to come up for real.
No,
I appreciate you coming.
I've got my coffee. Here. Good morning, Grand Rising.
Grand Rising. It's not morning here, though.
I know, but it is at my end.
You know what time it is here? I'm turning it down. Why isn't that going down? Oh,
it must be eight or 9ish.
It's 7:34 p.m.
And it's 9:34 a.m. over here.
Wow. So that's a little bit, about 10 hours difference, I think.
It's Friday morning. Yep.
Okay. And it's still Thursday here. Well, I'm so glad that you decided to join me, Nick. I was going to try to wing it by myself because I don't know who's coming tonight, but they always pop up on a surprise. But is the music too loud, guys?
Perfect.
Okay. So tonight we're going to speak about Chris Lighty. Now, Chris Lighty's demise was similar to Stewart's, the man that we talked about on Sunday. So I thought that it was important that we also bring him into, the mix as well, since they both were big executives in this industry that, this nefarious industry that we're learning about, right? The one that Jag has been exposing for days, or years, honestly. And Nick, just to talk about a little bit about what you kind of talked about and didn't talk about this morning about the Ron and Atwood thing. I saw the video. It was definitely shade being thrown, and I'm not 100% sure if Jag has been on the Atwood channel for 4 years. I don't think she has she?
I don't think so, no. No, I think it was only since October.
Okay, so I'm not 100% sure where he's going with that, to be honest with you. But, yeah. It sounded like that. The Maggie and Ron thing is kind of accurate, and I have a reason why. Because now you're coming out and you're saying disparaging things about Jaguar, even though you didn't say her name, we know who you're talking about. Mm-hmm. You're playing a video of a Jaguar after the fact, all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what's that about, Ron? What's that about? That's all I want to know.
I think that's good. And something to do with Beverly.
With Beverly? No, I didn't even know what happened with Beverly, but I can't say yes or nay that Sean just cut off Beverly because I don't know. So I can't like really speak on that, right? Yeah, I just want him to know that I caught the shade. Mm-hmm. And you're going after Sean for you're saying that he treated you in such a way, but you go to the whole YouTube where the whole world can see and air him out. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm just a different type of an adult. I guess I just don't. I don't know. I don't like do things like that. I mean, I feel like, well, I guess he did say he tried to talk to him or whatever. I don't know. All I know is I don't know what Jag has to do with this. Your paycheck. I don't know what Jag has to do with your paycheck not being what it's supposed to be. That's it. That's all. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I just wanted Ron to know I caught the shade. And you know what? Why say something now? Why you didn't say something before? Why wait until he cut ties with you to now go after Jag and say all these disparaging things about her after the fact, only because Sean cut you off?
Yeah,
that's my real question.
Well, I think he's done another live, Auntie Leah. So I think there's more to it. Yeah, there's a part two, but that happened when I was sleeping.
When you were sleeping, I don't know if I want to check it out. I might check it out because I really don't go looking for stuff like that. I don't get it. I don't get what Jag has to do with your paycheck being not what it's supposed to be, I guess. I mean, allegedly, that's what you said. So the going after Jag part. Hey, Seth. So going after Jag in that video, it just wasn't called for, and it was just downright confusing because she didn't have nothing to do with the fact that he didn't pay you.
I think that I reckon that Odell could shed some light on some of this.
He probably can, and if he wants to come up and shed it, he will. But he don't like to get in the mess either, you know. Mm-hmm. And I get that, and I'm not gonna get deep into it, but I just wanted Ron to know that I caught the shade about Jag, and that now it really does look like you and the owl were in cahoots behind the scenes. You just solidified that.
We're talking about the Atwood divorce, Odell.
The divorce between
Yeah, the divorce between Ron and Sean.
Here, I'm dropping a link now, Odell. Yeah, apparently something happened to Ron's paycheck. This is what he said in public. I can't even say this is what he's saying because nobody knew, right? He said something about his paycheck wasn't right, and then he went on, and somehow it ended up Jag being thrown in there as Shay. He didn't say her name, but you can tell who he's talking about. He played a video of a jaguar and called her a big cat or something like that. So everybody knows who that is. But my question is, what does that have to do with what you and Sean is going through? I don't get it. I would like to know. I got questions.
Yeah, I've got questions, and I'm going to get to the bottom of them too. Over all that.
Please do. Yeah. Hey, I dropped the link, Set. Yeah, because that just threw me way off. It just threw me way off.
Yep.
All right, let me put you up. All right, so how you doing?
All right. What's up? What's going on? I just came in, I guess, midstream. What's going on? There's a situation with Ron and Sean.
Yeah. Yeah. They're officially divorcing.
Oh, okay. And Jaguar got brought into it. How so?
Through the Beverly Roads getting taken from the show.
So Beverly Rose got taken off of Sean's show because of Ron.
Because of Jag, it appears to be. That's what the insinuation is.
Because of Jag. How so? How did Jag get Beverly Rose taken off of Sean's show?
I don't think she did anything herself. You know, Jag doesn't have to do
really
anything.
Do think my opinion is you felt this way about Jag all this time, and you didn't say anything about it. So now, since you are parting ways with Atwood, and your butt hurt because you have something happen to your paycheck, because that's what it started. Allegedly, this is what he said. He didn't get the right pay. He approached Sean Atwood. Sean Atwood exploded, which I don't know if that's true or not. I just don't get that from Sean. That's just my opinion. I've never seen him type of person as to just fly off the handle. That's just what I observed of him. And then all of a sudden, so he's going at Atwood because Atwood had to block him or his attorney on all platforms. And then at the end of the video, he goes after Jag. And Jag, I'm like, what has she got to do with this?
So Ron went after Jag.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ron did.
Okay. That's interesting.
It was borderline racist as well. I said what I said. Some of the music in the video was borderline racist. I said what I said.
Well, I called Ron out on his bullshit way back when I called him out on his bullshit. I'll just say it like that. On some man shit, I called him out like, yo, because there was some funny things going on. And I even told him, because one of his members put a monkey emoji for no reason on my comment or something, right? On my channel. And behind the scenes, I just said, hey, Ron, get your people. That's your people. That was my only comment. I said,
wow.
And he blew up. So I don't think Sean would be the one to blow up. It looks like maybe because Ron got it, he was going back and forth. I was like, man, I don't argue with, I ain't gonna argue with you, bro. So he was just looking for a confrontation. But now I don't think Sean would come out of any old kind of way. So I'll look more into the story, but that's interesting.
And Odell, I'm going to look more into what you just talked about as well, because I've had a big discussion with someone about that emoji issue.
To me, it don't hurt my feelings, because when you look at my DNA of my hair, it's nowhere near a monkey's DNA. You know what I'm saying? So you can look at some other people's DNA and their hair strands, and it's freaking monkey fur, but mine don't. So I get offended by it. It's funny, it's laughable, and that's why all I said to him was, "Go get your people." Because I don't want to have to school nobody.
Yeah. It's very disrespectful. And like I said, Ron, if you're watching, you probably don't even know who I am. You're probably not watching, but somebody might tell you, that even in your video, the music you're playing was borderline racist. It was stereotyping. You're talking about rappers that great people or whatever, you guys heard the song if you watched it. That wasn't cool either. That wasn't cool what you played in that song, period. And what you were implying as well. And then what you said about Ronnie Bo may kind of be true to me now that you're acting the way that you're acting. Now I'm kind of just looking like, okay, well, you know what? It definitely sounds like that you treated him that way. Because you're bringing Jaguar into something that doesn't have anything to do with her, like nothing at all. Whatever decisions that he made on his channel, Atwood made on his channel, was his decisions, not Jag's decisions. So why you're bringing her up in this, I don't know why. I think it's going to get a whole lot more interesting, and
I'm not sure if we can hear both sides of this story in, like, from Sean's side. We're definitely going to hear more from Ron by the look of it. Well, he's already done another live, so
he's butthurt because Atwood, basically, in my opinion, is making business decisions for his channel. He's making business decisions for his channel. He has a major channel, and you're personally hurt. So I just don't see Sean as somebody who's just gonna rah attack you for no reason.
Nah,
I just see that in him. That's just my opinion.
Like I said, from my interactions with Sean, Sean's been cool, and from my interactions with Ron, Ron's been the opposites. So I don't think Sean would just
Okay, well,
it's got some unpacking. Yeah, we've got some unpacking to do, Auntie Leah.
Well,
don't you?
Well, my name is Wes, and I ain't in this mess. But it's very interesting. It's very interesting because I'm looking at, someone sent me a clip of like Moloch being mad at the robot, and they've been going back and forth. And you got Elon Musty going at old Trump. I'm like, everybody beef is the new supper, or beef is the new dinner, I guess. I don't know what.
Wow. I don't know what's going on either. But what I do know that Ron and Aggie, the owl, sounds like they were in cahoots, just like somebody said. Jag said it. And it sure looks like it to me. Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
We kind of figured that behind the scenes. We kind of connected the dots on a lot of stuff and didn't necessarily expose too much. I'm still not gonna say a whole lot, but yeah.
And don't have to.
And what do you think with those tears?
Don't say, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
were those tears real that we saw a few hours back?
You said it. What, too?
Were those tears? Were they crocodile tears that we were seeing out of the owl, or were they real tears? What were they? Tears?
Crying tears? What are you talking about? When?
With the robot? No, I'm talking about the owl and the robot. Is the owl and the robot strike?
There was some crying involved. I didn't know it was crying involved, but
there was so much crying, so much crying.
Oh wow. Okay, well, that's interesting. Oh well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know.
I ain't got, like I said, my name Weston. I ain't in this mess.
I know that's right.
My name Bennett. I ain't in it.
Yeah, it is.
My name is Claire, and I don't care.
But that's an adult mentality, right? That's an adult mentality. And if
they do. Yeah. No.
I've never seen so many adults act in this type of behavior, just take part in it. I mean, really. Go ahead. What you say?
It's not even a full moon. That's in like 4 days. So it's not even full moon yet.
Do you know how weird it is to see grown men get on here and just act like teenage women? It's just weird to me. But to each their own. That was his way of getting it out, I guess. But he's gonna have to produce some receipts if he wants somebody to believe that. To be honest with you, because there's plenty of times that Sean could have blew up.
Mm-hmm.
He could have blew up at Jag. He could have blew up at a lot of people, and he's always held himself. He could have blew up at Ronnie Bo. I've never seen him acting that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
now,
anyway.
Sean is cool as a cucumber. Like I mean, that, at least from where he presented himself to me, I've never seen that, or because we talked to him behind. That guy is cool, like straight up,
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not taping for him either, but I don't see him blowing up like how Ron blew up on me just because I told him, "Hey, go get your people."
Yeah. Yeah, I get it, Odell. Well, if you come across my live, Ron. Can you answer my question? What does Jag got to do with it? That's my question. What she got to do with it? Your paycheck being short. I don't get it. She don't sign the checks. And I have not been on Atwood's channel in months. So, but
Jag ain't been over there. Yeah, I was about to say. She hasn't been over there in what, 3 months, 4 months?
So yeah, I don't know what she got to do with this. But yeah, I just got questions. That's all. And I don't want to argue and nothing like that. It's a valid question. It's a valid question. You merged it, your beef or whatever that we didn't know about, into a video with a beef that you have with Atwood. So the question is, what she got to do with this?
Yeah,
is what it is. So I'm not going to keep talking about it. Go ahead. You want to say something else?
I was just saying. I think he's looking for some attention. That's what it sounds like. Because it looks like if Jag says anyone's name, they people start looking at them. There's a little light on them type of situation. So that's probably what that is. He's just looking for a little bit of attention. And yeah, Jag doesn't need to give him doesn't need to mention him or nothing.
Yeah, I agree. So guys, with that being said, I'm not going to continue to talk about it because that's not what our video is about for today. Today we are continuing the segment of the Hip Hop is a Graveyard, and this edition is about Chris Lighty.
Yeah.
So let's get our listening ears on. Let's get our thinking caps on. Let's delve into this and see if we can try to figure something out. There's so many theories out there, like he didn't unalive himself, or well, who did it, or he did unalive himself. We don't know. I don't even claim to know. So this broadcast, go ahead, Nick.
I think according to the suspicious will situation, I don't think so. I don't think
you don't think so.
That's why,
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so either. So, but everything is alleged. We don't have the facts, and hopefully we can just try to narrow something down that makes sense, because what's out there right now just simply doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Right?
That's right. Yep.
All right. All right. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna get the video.
Back, hold on real quick.
Okay.
How long, quick question, how long you think you're gonna be on with this video today? Just FYI, I wanted to know.
About probably a couple of hours. A little bit more.
Okay. I'll get with you. No, we got some real breaking stuff comes soon, and I'll tap in with you later. And then as far as also with this Chris Lighty situation, we might have someone who maybe get more insight on it. So I'll tap in with you.
Okay.
I'm gonna be. Oh.
Okay.
I'm in a bad area. I'll tap in with you. I'm here, but tap in with you later about it.
Okay, all right, Adele.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Sounds like a plan. All right. Talk to you later, bro. Let me see. You guys know Auntie's still trying to navigate StreamYard. Let me put a pause on my music and let's get to the video, okay? I don't push the wrong button. You think I would have this by now? And I do. I do. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Y'all smash the like button as y'all come in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel too. Fair use, guys. That's fair use. I keep forgetting to say it.
I was a tour manager for Jungle Brothers / DJ / take out the garbage / show up at the studio. So it was more than just tour managing. And then the Jungle Brothers led me to meeting Tribe Called Quest, Q-Tip and Ali, Fife and those guys, and then De La Soul. And that actually led to Leor looking for me via the fact that we had all these groups popping, we were traveling all around the world, and he wasn't a part of it. So Leor came looking, and also Leor was a big fan of Criminal Minded and Boogie Down Productions, and I was running with Scott LaRock and those guys, and Scott was a good friend of mine, so he wanted to just know anybody that was part of the whole Criminal Minded movement and the whole Boogie Down Production movement. So we wound up getting together and talking about being a part of Rush. My first real meeting with Leor didn't go that great because I was taken back by Leor. I was like, who's this big, tall Israeli guy? And then he relied on Russell for the pitch when it should have just been Leor pitching, because Russell was in space age mode. He was at Club Nels. It was wild stuff going on, and I was like, this is the guy that started Def.
Okay, guys, I just wanted to let you know that this is Chris Lighty. I should have explained that in the beginning. This is actually an interview that he conducted prior to him passing away.
Wow. He's only a young guy, yeah? 34 or something?
Damn, Run DMC. I'm going to go hang out with Leo.
Yeah, he was 44 when he passed away.
I started in 1989.
Oh, 44, okay.
At Rush Management, so that was early. And no one really cared about
44, yeah.
Rap in general. People thought it was going to be a fad in and out, and that Leo, Chris, Russell, all these guys would be selling newspapers next week and be out the game, and who cared about Eric B and Rakim and Public Enemy. You know, Leo was very adamant that it was always about the artist, and it was about their creative flow and their creativity, and that we had to harness their ability to make this great music and take it to new boundaries. And there was really no rules. If we dropped the ball, we were the only ones there to pick it up. So we would quickly rush to pick it up because we never wanted to make a mistake for the artist. Oh, when I was at Rush Management, I was working on everything from Big Daddy Kane to Public Enemy, Brand Nubians, De La Soul, of course, Tribe Called Quest, on and on and on. I could go on for days. I mean, I had the privilege, Eric B and Rakim, had the privilege to work with some really great artists back then, you know, and fortunately, I came in at the right time. Going back to when I started Violator. Violator was really started as a company, I would say, as soon as I started managing Jungle Brothers and Tribe and everything, but my learning curve was under Rush. But I think the focus of Violator really came into effect when around 92, 93, when Leo came in the office and said, we're closing down Rush, pick who you want, do whatever you want, follow me to Def Jam. We're gonna go around the corner and we're moving from 298 Elizabeth to 160 Varick, no more Rush, it's a wrap. Do what you gotta do, shut this baby down. When you worked at Rush and Def Jam, you didn't have titles, you didn't have you didn't have the ability to have an ego and be successful, not around Leo. And if you were smart, you would just suck up all the information around Leo, because Leo doesn't read. And I hope Leo sees this, because yes, he doesn't read. If you're smart, you read everything on his desk, and then he'll want you to transcribe it back to him. But his brain works much quicker and much faster than most executives out there. He's able to translate the information that he gets in a different way than I would say I translated, or Russell. Russell definitely doesn't read. I mean, it got to the point when we moved to 160 Varick, Russell didn't even have an office at Def Jam. But it gave Russell the latitude to go do Fat Farm and Rush, Def Comedy Jam rather. And those are the things that kept us hot when the label was cold. We closed Rush Management down. I keep Brand Nubians. I actually keep Brand Nubians, Tribe Called Quest, Busta Rhymes, because I didn't want to deal with leaders in the new school. I was like, just Busta Rhymes. And this was a great time because I actually had the opportunity to pick from the greatness of management and say, these are the artists that I love and want to work with. So at the beginning of Violator.
You know, if there's one series that I hope 50 Cent do in the future on his platform, I hope he do the Chris Lighty story. Him and Chris Lighty were good friends and business partners that changed the game and made a lot of money together, y'all. 50 Cent said when he lost Chris Lighty, he lost brain management. Chris was the brains when it came to handling business. Chris Lighty is the definition of street smarts and book smarts. His networking, his communication skills were incredible when it came to business and doing deals. If any of his artists got in trouble with the law, he would bail them out or go to court to make sure they're all right. Chris Lighty took care of his artists and got them more money than what they were worth.
Yeah, Sha Money definitely brought 50 to the office, but 50 set up the meeting. It's funny because Sha brought 50 to the office. My daughter got sick at school and I had to leave. I said, yo, I'm gonna leave, but we're gonna set this meeting back up. And he was like, oh, here we go. You know, he swore that I was not gonna call him back. And you know, I loved the music. I had already heard the music. And I think we might have gotten together either later that week or the following week. But Sha Money was definitely influential in bringing 50 and I together. I heard of 50 with Trackmasters before, so I knew 50 from the whole Trackmaster era, How to Rob. You know, I had done a lot of business with Trackmasters back in the day, during the Trackmaster, Bad Boy, Def Jam era. So, you know, I knew of 50 and I knew of some of 50's heroics on the street back in Queens. So I knew of them even before I had met him. I wanted to sign 50 more as a label, and it was shocking to do as a label than on the management because I believed in 50. You know, 50 is one of the few artists that I've ever seen in my career say, hey, I'm gonna sell 10 million albums. And I go, yo, I love the music, 10 million is crazy. We're gonna sell 3 million albums, money. And he was like, no, we're gonna sell 10 million albums. Well, 11 million, well now 12 and a half, 13 million albums later on Get Rich or Die Trying, you know, he just had that aura. He had the story that made you want to, you know, fight for him, made you want to gun for him, and he was a good guy overall. You know, he was in the struggle, he was in the hustle, he did everything right and everything wrong, and he was trying to do something right for his family at this point, and the music was great. You know, I heard the whole thing my kids were doing, and I was like, oh no, I don't understand it, this is crazy.
Yes, guys, he does have a connection with Diddy. You will learn that later on in the video, this connection, you know, with Diddy. And I kind of think that this may be one of the reasons that 50 Cent and Diddy have a beef today, kind of, sort of. I kind of think that. I don't know a lot about this story because I honestly didn't know who Chris Lighty was until after he passed away. Mm-hmm. So you just don't know about these big execs until after the fact because they're not out in the front, right? They're in the back making things happen. So, but yeah, he has a connection with Diddy.
Crazy. But then I was able to talk to Soulja Boy through 50 Cent, and I was like, this kid is really smart. And if you look at the internet, he's been the only guy to date on the rap side to take his music and turn it into a multi-million-dollar operation. Whether you like it or not, you don't like his poppy records, you don't feel he's hard, whatever. He's Will Smith of the South for rappers right now, and he should just stick with that. He doesn't have to prove anything. He's made tons of money, and at the end of the day, he's also still a young man. You know, he's just now coming into his own. So the fact that he was 17, 18, making millions of dollars and didn't have the right guidance, we were able to jump on and fix a lot of his issues and clean up a lot of his contracts. And the fact that he was smart enough to let us do it shows, you know, a way bigger level of maturity that he has than a lot of other artists have that are probably 5-10 years his senior. I found out Diddy could rap when everyone else found out when he dropped.
You never found out that Diddy could rap, Mr. Lighty, because Diddy cannot rap. That's absolutely a lie. He cannot rap at all. His cadence is horrible, and he doesn't write, and his deliverance is also horrible. So that's not true. Diddy can't rap and never could. And that's my opinion, though.
Yep.
That freestyle, and I was actually in Japan with my daughter, and I was like, I called his father.
Wait. Hold it.
Son is crazy.
Okay, wait a minute. He didn't say Diddy. He said Diggy. Diggy is Russell. No, not Russell Simmons, but the other part of DMC. Run DMC, run, son. Diggy. Duh. No wonder why he's. Yeah, Diggy can rap. I take that back, but not Diddy. Diddy cannot rap, but Diggy can. All right, my apologies.
I want to manage your son.
I was about to let him have it over Diddy.
Don't let nobody pitch. You could pitch. Don't make a decision until I get back and give you my pitch, because I think he's LL Cool J. They were like, what? He's Nas. No, he's not. He's LL Cool J. He's going to be here 20 years, 25 years. Please, let me get back from Japan. And his father was like, okay, we're going to let you get back. And then I met Diggy, and he's another, you know, wow, these kids are getting way more intelligent and business savvy. And it's probably because of the net and the web and everything that they see going around them with the Sean Carters and, you know, Sean Combs and Curtis Street will never let the big three happen again, because they'll never let us rape and pillage the game and then go make tens of millions of dollars outside the game and come back and say, now promote brand again so I can go make some more buckets of money over there, and you don't get any. But I think Diggy, even though he is in a 360 deal, will have the longevity if we handle his career right, which we will. You know, my brother played me Kanye West's demo, and boy, oh boy, did I, as soon as I heard it, I was like, please let me introduce me to this guy. And then I found out G and Hip Hop and those guys had already signed him up. Actually, me and G, both from the Bronx, we do there's a lot of inner.
Listen, Cat, you know how we do it over here. We will set the record straight, and if we make a mistake, we will correct our mistake. I just want to chime in and just kind of give you a little analysis on what I have learned about these two individuals and what I've noticed is different. Shakur Stewart had an education, right? His background was education. He went to, I think, he went to college. I can't think of the name. But it was a black college mainly. That's when his girlfriend got unalived in a car accident. His background is education. But Chris Lighty, as you will learn, his background is street. And it just amazes me how somebody that's street can just come up in this business and be so intelligent to where you don't need the education and just dive right in and to become successful in it. So I just wanted to point that out. They do have two different backgrounds, but just the path was just so similar, and the way they passed away is just so similar that it's haunting. All right, let's get back into it.
backdoor communication that happens with G and I. We do a lot of things for each other, and the game is so big. There's no competition like that. You know, I feel like whatever I could do to help him make money, I do. I brought him a Sprite deal for Drake. You know,
I want to welcome Blue Williams, who is the manager of everyone from CeeLo Green to Nick Cannon, and the business partner of the late Chris Lighty, who managed 50 Cent and LL Cool J and some of the biggest names in music. Chris Lighty was found dead last week in an apparent suicide that has sent the music industry reeling and left so many unanswered questions about the factors that may have led up to his death, and also about the future of his business and his long list of superstar clients from here. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
First of all, my condolences on the loss of your friend and business partner. And before we start, I want to put in perspective who Chris Lighty was. He was responsible for the careers of many artists, including 50 Cent, LL Cool J, Busta Rhymes, Sean Combs, certain aspects of his career. Before that, he managed greats such as Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul. He was very close with DJ Scott LaRock and helped him in many ways. And before that, he carried records for DJ Red Alert as a member of a group of Bronx kids known as the Violators. He went on to form Violator Management, and he is best known in the business for helping to broker the famous vitamin water deal in which 50 Cent.
Okay, guys. Someone in the comment, let's see who, Barbara J, she asked the question, how long after this interview, you know, that he basically passed away. And this interview was in 2011, and he passed away on August the 30th, 2012. So it doesn't give us the month that he passed away. So within anywhere between 12 months or less, I would say that's when he passed away. It's just sad.
Took stock in the company in exchange for his endorsement, and when the company was sold to Coca-Cola, he reaped a windfall worth a reported $100 million. You were raised in the Bronx.
I'll get you some coffee,
Last
Alina.
year, you and Chris merged together your companies. You worked closely with him. There's been so much speculation as to what might have happened. The medical examiner's office has said an apparent suicide. Members of his family and Russell Simmons have said that they don't believe it was a suicide.
Okay, so look at what Russell Simmons says while he's on the run somewhere in Belize with his crime committing self. He said, I don't think Chris Lighty killed himself. Oops, should have said that. YouTube, I'm sorry. I don't think Chris Lighty unalived himself. His brother Dave wants an investigation, and so do I. Nothing's adding up. So that comes from, you know, someone that was really high up in the industry as well. You know, and he's not the only one that said that they don't think that he would have did it. And that's the same thing they said about Shakir Stewart. It just doesn't match their personality. But we kind of figured out what was happening with Shakir Stewart mentally and spiritually. He was being attacked and, you know, stuff like that. But I don't know. But it's just odd. It's just odd how he publicly came out and just declared that on Twitter.
Another examiner to make a determination as to the cause of death. First,
Hey,
before we get into everything, do you believe that it was a suicide?
I think at the end of the day, it was a tragedy. I think really it's he's gone, and we're all suffering a great loss. And so no matter what happened specifically.
And I'm just going to stop it right there because, you know, I do have to give commentary because this is a reaction video. Even though I make the video and merge it and critique it, the original content is not mine. You can barely find anything out there on him, just like Shakir Stewart. It's like they scrub the internet of the original information, and you only can go off of other people's documentaries. So we do the best that we can. So we do have to stop, and we do have to give commentary every once in a while. And, you know, it's good for us. But do you notice how he danced around this question? Nick, do you notice how he danced? He didn't answer the question. His business partner, this is his business partner who's basically being careful with his words.
Yep.
He really just danced around the question and did not give his opinion on whether or not he believed Chris unalived himself or not. I mean, it's a yes or no question.
Yeah, it is a yes or no question. Yep.
Yeah, he just completely danced around it. Well, he's just gone, and we just all have to accept that that was not the question.
No, we don't.
Right. No. So who gave you a check?
Mm-hmm.
And do you have something to do with it? Suspect number 1, business partner. Let me write that down. Business partner. Because you just danced right around that question with no emotion whatsoever. All right, let's keep going. I'm writing down suspects, guys.
The end result is that he's gone and we've lost a leader.
And there have also been reports, some of them conflicting, about the events in his life that may have led to this. They range from marital problems to financial problems to the pressure of the industry.
Hey, Patricia.
Other factors could have weighed into that? And the question was depression part of that?
Right, Barbara.
I think that the pressure that comes with being a manager, a leader, icon as Chris was, can weigh on people, and it can weigh on it's a heavy burden to carry, and that weight can affect you, and it can start to take its toll on you, and I think that sometimes when you're carrying around that much weight, we as men, as black men, as hip hop entrepreneurs and stuff, we don't always let it on that we're carrying that much weight. And so it affects everyone differently, and especially if you internalize it, it can really eat away at you from
his worth. And he's been doing it since the 80s, making it.
You know what's interesting? Is that the business partner has never been mentioned. I don't even know his name, even though I heard his name. So could there be a little jealousy going on? Because even to this day, you don't know who he is. I don't know who he is. So he wasn't as popular as Chris Lighty. He was just a business partner that I didn't even know existed because no one talks about him. So with that, look at this expression even right now during the interview was kind of like nonchalant, looking down, distant. And then Chris, right, and distant, and then Chris is smiling, head up, because he knows that he's the popular one. He's the go-to guy. He's the it guy in this corporation. It's just odd. I'm just observing body language. What do you guys think? What do you all think about the body language?
I agree.
What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I agree. And Chris has got a really nice personality.
Okay, let me pause.
He was a master negotiator.
Sorry, I just said Chris has got a really nice vibe about him, a really nice personality.
Yeah, and this other guy's business, I mean, his body language is just saying so much. Kind of like that body language that was in that Biggie and Diddy video or Puff Daddy video from a long time ago before Biggie passed away, but after Pac passed away, they was in this interview that was televised. And remember that video where Diddy's eyes were just all over the place and was saying all kind of things like you're lying, like I'm a liar, don't say that, blah blah blah. You're talking outside what we rehearsed type of situation. That's kind of how he's looking a little bit. Like he kind of knows that he is not the main character in this business that they hold, that he's like taking the back seat. Kind of like what L.A. Reid said, when he got jealous of his son for getting all the attention and other people getting all the attention, that it made him feel some type of way, that he was always overlooked and was put, had to play the background. Remember he said that, guys, in the last Shakira Stewart. I don't know that he was there, Nick, but I know that you guys remember because that stuck out. So this is kind of like that. It's just kind of weird how he's looking in his body, body.
When it came to making deals, he has over 100 million in combined album sales and millions of dollars in brand-related ventures. Forbes magazine named him as one of the industry's most influential talent managers. In the streets, he was known as Baby Chris, the gangster.
Chris, going by the name Baby Chris, had come up with a Bronx crew called the Violators. From snatching people's chains in clubs, he graduated to carrying records for legendary DJ Red Alert. That relationship led him to becoming the tour manager for groups like Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul. He later became a successful executive at Def Jam before launching Violator, his management company with Mona Scott. Just like I was always seeking to find balance between 50 Cent and Curtis Jackson, Chris had two distinct sides to him as well. Chris Lighty, the executive, could sit down in the boardroom and have no problem cutting a multi-million-dollar deal. But baby Chris from the Bronx would still want to smack you in your face if you played too much around him. We were both constantly walking the tightrope between respecting our street and demonstrating our corporate character. For that reason alone, we deeply understood each other. With Chris, for the first time in my life, I had someone outside my immediate family who I trusted implicitly, with my money, with my visions, and with my future. A trust, as I've said, that is very hard for me to build.
Question, guys. What are the odds that both of these gentlemen, Shakira Stewart and Chris Lighty, were employees at Def Jam when they unalived themselves? What are the odds of that? It's not just weird.
It's totally weird.
Just to be employed. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ned.
I was going to say it's highly suspiciously weird.
Yeah, they both work for Def Jam in very high positions.
Mm-hmm.
Similar positions. And it wasn't that far apart. What, Shakira Stewart? Well, it was 4 years apart. A little under 4 years apart. But still, that's not that long to me apart when it comes to someone unaliving. So my question is, what's happening at Def Jam that's making people... I want to know if L.A. Reid was still the big dog at Def Jam when Chris Lighty unalived himself.
Mm-hmm.
Can you look that up for me, Nick? Real quick while I don't just kind of look
What's his name?
Google it.
What's his name?
L.A. Reid. Yeah, I don't want to mess up the stream by doing the search.
No, don't mess up the stream. I'll look it up.
Thank you so much, dear.
No worries, love.
World, we all know him as just Chris Lighty, the businessman, but his death is still a mystery to a lot of people. A lot of his close friends and family members don't believe he killed himself.
The death of Chris Lighty is going to have a devastating impact on the music industry. He was one of the people, one of the pioneers of this whole phenomenon of branding musical artists to actually represent corporate brands, large iconic corporate brands, everything from Coca-Cola to Pepsi to the household names. He was the person that really was kind of the liaison that showed companies, we're going to be able to show you and to break you into markets that you otherwise wouldn't be able to break into, and this is a demographic that you want to get to. What's great about this guy is he grew up with the hip-hop phenomenon. He was a kid that started off in the Bronx, supposed to be an electrician, and then he started out carrying crates for DJ Red Alert, for some of the greatest names, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, and he was kind of mentor taken under his wing by Lear Cohen, and he just continued to blow up in the music industry as a manager, as a trusted manager as the biggest brands in hip-hop. The last time I saw Chris Lighty, it was probably sometime this spring when I did an interview with his client Soulja Boy, but he came in November when he merged his company with the management company of another great manager named Blue Williams, who manages CeeLo Green and a bunch of other people. And what was really profound about both of those guys is that they worked as if it was the last opportunity that they were going to be able to work. And one of the things that he said in that interview was that he didn't even expect to live to be 21 because of the background that he grew up in. But he did so much in his life. He's the Steve Jobs or the Bill Gates or of the hip hop. He's somebody who sat at the forefront of the industry, came a generation after Russell Simmons, but he was the guy that helped, one of the guys that helped usher hip hop into the next mainstream phase.
Let me say this. How many of you can resonate with not thinking that you're going to make it to the age of 21? I can personally say that I used to think that as well, because my lifestyle as a younger, as a teenager, not as a young adult, my life changed after I was 18 years old. That's when I was introduced to the Lord, and everything got better the whole life. But while I was a teenager and while I was young, we were very poor, and we grew up in the ghettos of America, and it was just very dangerous over there. So I can definitely relate to him saying that he didn't think that he would make it to the age 21 and be totally shocked that, oh my God, I'm 40 some years old now.
Yeah.
So I just want to stop and say that his story is, I can tell that he started out rough, but Shakir Stewart had a different start out. It looked like his early life was grounded. He had both parents. He lived in California, in a good neighborhood. We didn't hear anything about him struggling, growing up in the ghetto and stuff like that. So though their stories are different in that aspect as well. Interesting. It's very interesting. Also, again, that business partner, he didn't matter at all. I mean, nobody ever mentioned him, and he's still not being mentioned. So definitely, it's some jealousy there. So let's continue. What was that?
I do not know.
What is that sound? Why are they always trying to sabotage my videos?
What's going on? Did you accidentally make it slow? Slow down the speed?
I don't know. No. How long is this going to go on?
Oh, good Lord.
No,
it was Queen Latifah's birthday party, and
that's it. It's okay now. It's okay.
Business to get the kind of.
Oh my God, that was so creepy.
Was killed.
Well, I'm trying to back it up to the beginning.
It was so creepy.
This is just weird, guys.
It's fine.
Absolutely creepy. Sounds like the devil.
What? I don't like it. Get rid of it.
I still hear it. Neither. What are you talking about, Satan?
No.
Oh my God. What the? Listen, look. If it's not the streaming, now it's messing with the audio of the video. Come on now.
Oh Lord.
What the? That's never happened before. After this live, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna.
Chris and Shy Kim.
There you go.
Now, around 1988, Chris and Shy Kim had formed Violator Flavor used a song called Buddy. That's when the Native Tongues clique was formed, which included a Tribe Called Quest, Jungle Brothers, Queen Latifah, Moni Love, and later on some other members would join. Now, Chris's name kept being mentioned so much on records, like a Tribe Called Quest song called What? And Q-Tip rapped the line, "What's Chris Lighty if he wasn't such a baby?" That was my junk right there. That album
they don't
was
like
crazy.
us talking about him. You know that,
but you know his name caught the attention of Leo Cohen, who wanted him to be down with Rush Management for Def Jam, because see, Leo was a big fan of the Native Tongues, and he was a fan of KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions. And he was impressed how Chris was taking all these groups on the road and was making money. A lot of people don't know that Chris also went on the road with KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions too. Chris and Scott LaRock were real good friends, and he was actually present on that day when Scott LaRock was killed. Chris was there when Scott LaRock got killed outside the housing projects in the Bronx, in the High Ridge housing projects. Wow. He was there for that first hip-hop murder, y'all. That's crazy. Y'all make sure y'all check out that Scott LaRock story I did on the channel too. But anyway, so Leo wanted Chris to join Rush Management, and when Chris first met Russell Simmons, he really wasn't feeling him at first, because when he met Russell, it was at a club where everybody was doing drugs and getting high, and a bunch of other strange stuff was going on in the club that he didn't want to be a part of. But after Leo convinced him for the second time to join Rush Management, he agreed. Chris knew he needed to learn a lot more about the business to get the kind of money that they were making, so he took the Rush Management Def Jam offer. Now, in 1989, Chris would get his face slashed while waiting in line to get inside a club. Now, the story goes, it was Queen Latifah's birthday party in Manhattan. And you know, she had all types of guests in there. She had Bobby Brown was in there, Wesley Snipes, Chris Rock, and some other celebrities. Plus, her family members and friends were also there at that party. Now, Chris and Africa Baby Bam from the Jungle Brothers had arrived late, and they was trying to get past the line to get in. But some other guys who were waiting in line didn't like how they were skipping the line, and he pushed Chris and slashed him in the face with a razor. Next thing you know, Chris and his peoples he was with ended up beating the guys up outside the club, and the guys ended up running inside the club. And that's when Chris made a phone call to his crew, the Violators. And some of the Violators were already in the club, and then some more showed up. And when they got in the club and found the guy that had slashed Chris in the face with that razor.
Hey, Jack, how are you doing?
Hey guys, how are right now? Scratching a mosquito bite. I haven't had one of these in a minute. Lord. Oh my God.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know they love me.
So
They love to eat on me.
You ain't never lying, girl.
I'm so glad that you guys are, here doing your thing. I've been a little busy. It's my sister's birthday party tonight. So I'm getting ready for that. And nice. I want you guys to say a prayer for me. I think I'm about to do something that's really going to hurt people's feelings. So
boy. What's that?
Okay.
I can't talk about it.
Okay.
All I'm going to say is just keep me in prayer.
Okay.
Yes.
It's heavy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We definitely are going to keep you in prayer. I think a lot of us always pray for you. So
I know you do. And I appreciate y'all for that. I'm sitting here and I'm watching you guys, help us build this sector, this truth sector over here. And I'm really proud. I hope everyone is sharing. I hope everyone is liking.
Mm-hmm.
I hope everyone is doing what they're doing. I'm always going to, when I see it, just in case I have to check more often. But the truth is I've been researching, doing some heavy research, still doing it.
Okay.
So I'll be around. But I need y'all to just say a prayer for me that God guides me through this next step.
Okay.
I hope you all are going to be proud of what comes next. It's so funny. I don't know if you guys have seen. I could have swore to God a couple of weeks ago, I said there was going to be an issue with the jury and that one of Diddy's lawyers were about to get in big trouble.
Yeah, I think you did.
Wow.
It's funny. It's funny how I said in about 3 weeks. Here we are, because that's exactly what happened today, isn't it?
Yep.
Ooh, yes. Well, we cannot wait for the real update, Jag, from you, because there's so many people out here trying to spin the narrative. I just can't watch them. It's like, what
I'm also going to ask that everyone in the community, let's keep Natanya in prayer. Let's make sure we raise her up whenever she goes live. Let's make sure we share it. Natanya Rubin is probably the most pure sacrificial lamb victim in the Diddy realm. And I just got word not long ago. I've been holding on to it for a while. Looks like there might be a documentary coming trying to paint Natanya as a liar.
Oh, no.
Let's just leave this lady. It was somebody in her comments that day that she went live the last time. It was somebody in her comments that was telling her, you just need to let it go, blah, 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 came into her life to attack her.
Mm-hmm.
I heard there was a fake her bumping
Yeah,
around.
there was in the Owl's chat.
What did the fake Natanya say exactly?
Not a lot. It was just pretending, playing nice.
Well, I mean, but what was the tone of it, if you remember?
Yeah, the tone wasn't too sinister, but it they didn't they weren't in there too long before one of the mods picked up on it, so that was good.
Yeah,
They got
that it
got
was
it.
that it was the fake one, but she came in acting
Mm-hmm.
like she was still a supporter of the owl and
Oh yes,
all of
and
that.
yes, and I'm going to do a little bit from Natanya's live and show the owl that will never happen.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the truth is
You remember?
it's grotesque.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what I find funny? That when that person defected from us, it's really funny because we were all here. We all saw what happened,
Mm-hmm.
and we all saw the turn.
Right.
We all saw the turn, and the turn was pretty much immediate. It was almost overnight. It was. It felt staged and orchestrated.
Sure did.
Yep. It was.
But what I noticed is that the target was put on me,
Mm-hmm.
and she just pretended like Natanya never existed at all.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, it's kind of weird, isn't it?
Very weird.
It's like it's very strange. It's very strange because I remember once upon a time that person said that their whole purpose was to come and help me and Tanya and stand by the survivors. And it's almost as if you totally forgot about that person altogether.
Liar. She was a liar. Oh yeah, Nick.
Can I ask you both for a reality check on something that I think that I saw a long time ago?
What?
Did the owl used to have a YouTube banner saying "victim" in big letters?
I don't remember.
Before it got updated. I think that Jay Mizak might have done her YouTube banner, so I think it said "victim," and I was I think when I first found Maggie or the owl, I'm sure it said "victim," and I was shocked. I was a bit shocked. It had some shock value. So anyway,
it could have.
You mean victim, like labeling
herself?
Well, she did say she was a victim. She said she was great as a child.
Yeah, but it was like very dramatic.
Well, see, this is the thing. Nobody calls themselves a victim.
No, and she
when you're a survivor.
That's right. She goes after victims, people that call themselves victims. So.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. I also heard there was some other stuff going on. There was a falling out over there in Great Britain.
There's a divorce. Yep.
Really? Who?
Yep. And Sean Atwood and Ron, and somehow you became in the middle of it.
Really? How?
That's what I want to know, Ron. What does it got to do with James?
I mean, why was what was my name was mentioned? How?
No,
your name wasn't mentioned.
What he said.
But your likeness as an animal, as a jaguar, was mentioned. Big cat.
It's mentioned. Yeah. He made a big old video of a jaguar and called you the big cat. And he made Atwood the lion, not Simba. What's the other one that betrayed in the Lion
Scar?
Yes.
Scar. So Atwood was Scar, and you were the jaguar that he put in there.
And what was that all about?
And that's what I would like to know.
It was something to do with. It was very cryptic, how it was said. It was mentioned, and I think there was an insinuation towards Ronnie Bowe as well. So there was some racist, cultish, something or other.
Mm.
It was
You have a
very,
troll in your
yeah.
chat.
I have a troll
You
in my
have
chat?
called Net in the West. Yeah, he's in your chat.
Oh, well, really?
Yes.
Do I have a mod over
So
there?
basically, what happened, Jag, is that I guess something happened with Ron's paycheck. So he's trying to act
Mm-hmm.
like that Sean shorted him on his paycheck, and when he reached out to Sean just blew up, started calling him names and being rude and all this stuff, and then blocked him on all channels, and then sent Shane to tell him that Sean's attorney told Sean to block Ron. I've never seen Sean Atwood blow up on anybody, even under pressure. So that's kind of hard to believe. But toward the end, in the middle of the video, he started just going down a list of everybody that Sean has appeared to betrayed, and then he blamed it on you without saying your name.
How could he betray anybody because of me?
Good question.
How?
And then he said it's been going on for 4 years. And I said, well, I don't think that
I haven't been around for 4 years. I didn't meet them until after I did Piers Morgan, when they reached out after I did Piers Morgan, October of last year. It hasn't even been a year.
Auntie Leah, yeah, no, I think it was that they were just talking about how long they'd known each other. So Ron was saying they've known each other for 7 years and been working together like this for 4 years. I don't think that part had anything to do with Joe.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out why I would be mentioned at all. I have nothing to do with their relationship.
I think it's got something to do with Beverly Rhodes, but he's done a part 2, so I haven't watched that yet.
What about Beverly? I thought she was already denounced as a heretic and a liar and a fraud.
Yeah, well, I actually don't know any. Sorry.
What he said about Beverly is that there was a set date that Sean had said that he was going to part ways with Beverly, and misleading them, thinking that she had more time to be on the show, where he just cut her off that day that he told her. Period. But again, what does that have to do?
I mean, it is with me because it's a clout chase. That's all. It's a clout chase. Yeah. It's a reason to say my name. It's a reason to make people come over to his channel. You know, I'm so sick and tired of people trying to talk about me like I'm so irrelevant, and yet they can't seem to manage to survive without me in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's a little annoying.
I would think
just
so.
A little.
I don't see how you handle it, because you just, the part about you just came out of left field. I'm like, well, she hasn't even been over there in months. So why are you bringing that up now? And what does that have to do with anything?
And I've refused to go over there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've refused. I've refused. What were you going to say?
You know what else it solidifies? Your analysis on who was in cahoots in the background when someone said that it looks like to me that the Al and Ron were working in the background all along.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what it looks like, because that's who he's acting like right now. He's like, why bring Jack up? Because your paycheck was short? What does Jack have to do with your paycheck doing short, sir?
Nothing.
So yeah, there's truth to what you said. They were working together.
Yeah, I know.
In my opinion.
Yep. I know. Mm-hmm. The thing is this, and this is the problem that Sean had with me. The second that he started seeing that there were lack of integrity going on with the people that he was allowing to associate with and build their personas on his platform, and he didn't check anybody or hold anybody into account, and just continued to keep making excuses for people and saying, oh, I don't think it was this, I don't think it was that. That's when he hurt himself.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, whatever bad dealings that they had going on, he just emboldened it. He emboldened it. He really did. It's no different than Diddy pow-powing Natanya in the face, kicking out $1 million out of his pocket, and just keep moving on. It's the same thing. When you don't shut down corruption, when you don't shut down things, when you don't handle things with a pure lack of integrity, guess what? All hell breaks loose.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? I blame him for all of it because this is you. These are your people. This is
Yep.
your staff. This is what's going on. And
Yep.
you know what? I am so grateful we don't have nothing to do with this crap.
Nothing at
Nothing.
all.
They cannot
But why
blame
do
this
they always try
community
to?
for anything.
Yeah, but why do they always try to make it about? It's just so evident to me that people deliberately try to bring you into stuff that you had nothing to do with. But okay, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Finish what you.
please. It's your channel. Please
I
finish.
know that, but it's rude to cut people off.
No, it's not.
know.
Not on your channel. I do it on mine. You can do it on your own. Cut me off. Cut me
All
off
right.
just like Brown Check got cut.
Yep. Now see, you got jokes. You got cut.
Well, with all those children, I can understand why he'd be worried about it.
Yeah, but I just then he told him, if you get on the internet and say anything different, I got all the receipts and I'm gonna out your mate. Whatever, he might not have said mate, but I'm gonna out you. That's what he said.
He's going to out who?
Sean Atwood.
Oh, that sounds like a threat.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why he mentioned my name, because he thought I would be interested in their falling out, so he could find a way to link up with me and give me receipts on Sean Atwood so that he could tap back into the game. And guess what? I don't give a fuck, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
I don't care.
Fair enough.
Good.
I really don't care.
Because that's
I really don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's this is a mess. Because I'm gonna tell you what I do know. Of all of the names being mentioned during this Diddy trial, I can think of 4 or 5 names that are radio silent that shouldn't be.
I agree.
Ariel Mitchell Kidd, Chris Todd, Courtney Burgess, Adria English, and Lamisha Fuller, who is still active here on YouTube right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's still active. She's still active, and she's still taking questions from people as if she's actually a real Diddy anything. It's disgusting. And guess what?
Wow.
Lionel B might have brought it all to the fore, but it's the rest of the content creators that kept it going. And the main one and the largest platform that did was the Sean Atwood platform. And meanwhile, while they were busy trying to line me up to be in cahoots with these weirdos to kill my credibility in some way, they let all of this stuff live. And now nobody's saying anything about it. Anything.
Yeah.
You know, maybe this is just karma. But I tell you what, I got a good feeling that a lot of those receipts probably have something to do with the fact that they knew that all of those people were fake to begin with.
Well,
I've got one. Sorry, Auntie Leah. I've got one more receipt for you, Jag.
Oh, what?
So in early December, I happened to be watching AT2, and a man who I had no idea who he was at the time, called the Gospel Storm, was on AT2's channel, and he was dragging Natanya Rubin. I was so upset about it that I sent Natanya an email about it. So I've got the receipt of that. I just thought that was important to note at this time.
Well, the funny thing is, because he was trying to bully his way onto Natanya's platform, and she said no. And I guess he took it the wrong way. What I find most interesting is of all of the things that people are sitting there talking about, I've been telling people for I don't know how long. You want to know what really trips me out? Nobody's paying attention to the origin of where that man came from. See, I remember the first time I heard him on YouTube. He was sitting with Storm Monroe.
Yep, a lot, often.
Interesting.
He was sitting with Storm Monroe, exposing the gospel community up until Storm was about to get sued by TD Jakes, got struck a bunch, and that was just the end of that. I just find it funny that somebody that came in specifically to expose the corruption and the sodomy in the gospel world,
Mm-hmm.
that all of a sudden you jump from that to chasing Natanya Rubin,
Mm-hmm.
chasing
Right.
me, and chasing whatever
Mm-hmm.
story you can chase. And
Exactly.
I told everybody that. But what I do know is that if it came by way of Storm Monroe, then undoubtedly it was probably, it all started with Trashy K.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So my thing is
It's
while everybody's running around heralding him as a PDFer and being this
mm-hmm.
stone cold crazy person, and they want to
Mm-hmm.
blame people for working with him and blame people for talking to him, well,
Right.
why has nobody said nothing to Storm Monroe? Because Storm Monroe is the one that introduced that that PDFer
Yep.
on this platform. Why is nobody going after Storm Monroe? That's who brought him here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a valid.
And
It's a
meanwhile,
valid.
that was all around the same time they were trying to line me up with that fake AI crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So rather
Weird.
than everybody running around talking about who he's working with, why don't you go back to the person that brought him
Listen.
to us?
Yep. Yep.
Because I don't see why
I
nobody's
agree.
asking Storm Monroe why he introduced someone on the registry
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
to YouTube.
He's not supposed to have a social media. I don't know why he's not being reported because it is against the law to be on social media.
You can do whatever you
Well, I
listen
don't
to
know.
me. When when
I
when
don't know if
when
it's
you
against
have
the law.
friends,
Go
when
ahead.
you have friends in law enforcement, you can do a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things that
Yep.
you ain't supposed to be able to do.
True.
Yep.
I'm so sick and tired of everybody and their diversionary tactics and all of that wildness. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of everyone acting like they're stupid. I'm tired of everyone acting like they were born today. I'm tired of everyone sitting here getting new.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't people ever take their trash back to where it came from?
Mm-hmm.
And the origin of that trash is Storm Monroe.
Yep. For sure.
Yep.
Mm.
Well, everybody just want
Well,
a paycheck.
ladies,
All
I
right.
mean, this is the thing. This ain't a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
This
No.
is selling your soul to the devil.
Mm-hmm. For
Amen.
sure.
You get a
I agree.
paycheck for an honest day's work,
Mm-hmm.
Say that
not for
again.
an honest lie's work.
Mm-hmm.
That I agree with.
It's ridiculous. And meanwhile, everything that I have said regarding the diddler and his very criminal organization, it just keeps getting more and more real every day, don't it?
Mm-hmm. Sure does.
Yes.
Sure does.
There has not been one thing that I haven't called. I told everybody 3 weeks ago when I was at the courthouse, there was going to be an issue with the jury. There was going to be an issue with one of his lawyers. It was going to go bad. I said in about 3 weeks. And guess what? It's been 3 weeks and it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Why does everyone want to question?
Yeah. I never know.
They want to paint you out as a liar so bad that they won't even acknowledge the truth. They won't acknowledge
For they
at
will
all.
not believe the truth. I will send them
At all.
strong delusion and allow them to believe a lie. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2,
Yep.
verses
And I will
9
turn their minds
Mm-hmm.
over
through
to a
12,
reprobated mind. Yep.
to a reprobated man,
That's
and
what the
take
word
pleasure
says.
in their wickedness,
Mm-hmm.
and take pleasure in their wickedness.
Wow.
Yep.
Now, I remember when Chris Lighty was announced as no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
See, Chris Lighty's death for me
Mm-hmm.
was very I didn't really I didn't have the space to acknowledge it. It was the same thing as when Michael Jackson died. When Michael Jackson died, the global grieving began, and then my manager, Richard Nichols' mom, she passed away on 4th of July. And then my father passed away on the 11th of July. I sang at both of their funerals.
Wow.
One funeral 1 week, my father funeral 2 weeks later. So I really I didn't really get to start acknowledging, the loss until well after that. It was the same thing for me with Chris Lighty, my cousin Sonny,
Mm-hmm.
Sonny Teresa Rippey. She passed away. She was pregnant. We was
Mm.
hoping that she was going to be able to keep that baby.
Oh,
Her and
jeez.
her baby. By the time they found her
What happened?
at the let's say second trimester,
Mm.
blood clot embolism. She was complaining about pain in her leg the day before. She was overweight, but she was very active.
Oh, no.
When we lost her in 2012, when Chris passed away, it's funny. I'll never forget when I first heard about it. I said he didn't do that to himself.
No.
I don't believe that
It was
one
time to
bit.
pay the piper.
His will's a bit
And
strange.
I'll never. It's yeah, just like Shakir.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But see, that was back when me and Moni Love were still friends.
What's wrong?
And I guess I'm sharing this story with y'all before I go for a reason, before you get back into this. Chris's funeral and my cousin's funeral were the same day.
Oh.
Moni had just had Lacey, and the industry had turned on her. She was
Mm-hmm.
working at the radio station, but they were looking to, they
Okay. Still there, Jack? Jack, can't hear you no more. Nick,
No, I
is it
can't
me?
hear her either. I think it's a signal, Jack's signal.
Okay.
She might have frozen.
All right. Let's just
I'll
wait a
come back.
minute.
hello.
Yep.
Yep. Now we can hear you. Can you guys hear Jack?
Okay,
Yep. Yes.
It went out just a little bit.
just connection.
Okay.
But I'll never forget because Sonny was Lacey's godmom, Moni's
Mm-hmm.
last baby,
Mm-hmm.
and we took care of her when she came to Philly, and we saw what the game was doing to her. I asked my cousins to, you know, us gather around her. We threw her baby shower.
Mm.
We, it was whenever she needed money, we would all look
Mm-hmm.
out, take care, bring food.
Mm-hmm.
When her car was down, pick her up, take her where she needed to go, watch the kid, whatever. We
Mm-hmm.
we treated her like family. And I'll never forget when she said that Chris's funeral was the same day. And I said, well, I mean, it's Chris Lighty. I get that, but we're talking about Sonny.
Right. Right.
You gotta come to the funeral. Like it's Sonny. And
Mm-hmm.
Right.
she made such a big deal about it. I mean, but I really have to.
You still there, Jack? I think you went out again.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Sorry about that.
We can
Oh,
now.
yeah. Yeah. We hear you. Yeah.
we had actually both funerals, but when I asked her, why are you making such a big deal? She was like, I gotta be there. I gotta be there. And I'm like, why? She was like, Jag,
Hear what?
she said, I gotta be there. My career is on the line. If I don't show up, I might as well forget it.
Wow.
What?
And I'm like,
Didn't
you understand? I'm talking about Sonny, who was there for you. Chris Lighty wasn't helping you feed your kids, buy your
Mm-hmm.
kids school supplies, buy your
Mm-hmm.
kids school clothes while you had a
Mm-hmm.
man living in the house who wasn't
Yep.
taking care of you or the child that he made
right.
with you. Like, But the way she made it sound was like if she didn't go, it was going to be all over for her.
Right. Yep. Yep.
And so she went. She went,
Wow.
and she never sent a word. She didn't even send a card, no flop, nothing. And I'll never forget when I stood up on the podium in Pennsauken at the church. I started crying.
Mm-hmm.
I was crying for my cousin, but I was also pissed off that Moni never showed up.
Yeah.
Moni Love is
And
who we're talking about, right?
yeah, Moni Love.
Wow.
And then the next thing I know,
I wonder.
she got a break. She right after that, she got a break. And she moved to Miami.
So
I mean, she was in total exile. Nobody was messing with her. She couldn't get no work. They were blocking her from everything. They were blackballing her just like they was trying to do me. But I wasn't so quick to let them break my spirit. But Moni's been doing this since she was a kid. When she came over from London, she was still a teenager. She hooked up with old dude from the Jungle Brothers. You know, she relied on the system so much. But I always thought that it was so weird that when she went to his funeral, that's when everything turned around for her. It was like all was forgiven.
Okay.
Ain't that weird?
That is weird. Yep.
So
especially,
I think I know where you're going with this. And I'm just going to say allegedly. Go ahead.
No, allegedly. I want to hear what you think.
Type of situation. Allegedly sacrifice type of situation going on with.
That's what it feels like, doesn't it?
Sounds like to me. Yeah,
like they couldn't wait to show up at their funeral. Well, just like they did with Auntie Leah, you there?
Interesting.
Oh, but it was the same way with Biggie Smalls. It was the same way with Biggie Smalls' funeral. There were people who never even liked Big that had to be at that funeral. And when I look back at it now, it seems so obvious. It seems so obvious. It's wild.
That's just crazy. Because it's wild because it started out with the artist. So it looks like, it sounds like that the sacrifices started out with the artist. And then maybe for a period of time, they moved to the music execs for the sacrifice.
Where the money is.
Maybe they just got bolder. Or maybe they just got bolder.
Yeah.
Don't forget, sex, drugs, and rock and roll has always been the easiest way to kill superstition or suspicion around the death of an artist. But no different than any other monster or machine. Once it sees that it can keep doing it, it just expands.
It still
is.
I'm sorry, guys. I know this is all education and information for you. But for me, looking back, it feels so much different.
Yeah.
And I know how it makes me feel now. It was bad before.
Imagine.
But when you
actually in their world before.
Yeah. And I'm one of the ones that got away.
And it don't look like a lot of people get away.
Lost chicken, Jack.
Imagine what it looks like and know that you were meant to be in there.
Yes. I can't imagine.
They meant for this is what was intended for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get it, man.
All
Sad.
because I wanted to believe in God. All because I
Wow.
didn't want
Yeah.
to hurt people.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I get it now. I get what you just said. More than ever before. I get
And
it.
you're not the only one that said this either.
I know.
By the way, it was a young lady out there. She was a kid actress, and then she talks about it too, how the evils of this industry, and she had to leave because she loved God as well. I wish I knew what her name was, but she played on House of Pain, that Tyler Perry sitcom, but she was the
Mm-hmm.
child back then. You know who I'm talking about? I forgot her name. I
I
wish I
know.
knew
I
her
think I
name.
know you're talking about.
She says the exact same thing that you've been saying about that industry. It speaks of the rituals, the worshiping of and conjuring of demons, all of that. And she never went back.
Once you know what it is and you can't deny it,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
the only way you could is
Mm-hmm.
if you choose to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Y'all don't forget to say a prayer for the victims, for the dead, and for the survivors. And please say special prayers, very special prayers for Natanya Rubin, and very special prayers for I'll Be Sure.
Yes. Amen. We'll definitely do
This
that.
is just the beginning, guys. This is just the beginning. Y'all know that, right? This isn't the
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
end. We ain't nowhere near
Mm-hmm.
the end.
Yeah. Because why did this sound like it was a demon
But
in
we're
the
gonna learn
video?
from it and we're gonna teach the future. Huh?
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 Why did it sound like it was a demon in the video? That
Like
sound
I
was
said,
weird.
listen to me. That wasn't nothing but the devil.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Do
It's like
you
he was playing it
remember
backwards. Go ahead.
when we were young
Mm-hmm.
and they used to take the records and spin them backwards to hear the
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I was
satanic
just about to say that.
messages that were
Yep.
imprinted and embedded?
Mm-hmm.
And
Now,
like
what's
you
the
could
name of
turn
the?
over some records and you would literally, huh?
I was about to ask you what's the name of that song that Jay-Z has that has that very message. I forgot the name of that song. I just wish my memory was better. But he has a song out there. If you play it backwards, it says "Murder, Murder, Jesus."
Jeez.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And you gotta ask yourself, you know, but that's exactly what it sounded on your screen.
It
Yeah.
really
I
did.
When I
was
It
like,
was
first
what?
heard, I was like, oh
frightening.
my God.
I didn't like it at all. I wanted to close my laptop and run away.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I was like, what is this? I had to skip through it. Like, what is that? Because it definitely sounds like some type of demonic chant. And that's not how I made it. So how did it get like that?
I don't know.
Weird.
Mm-hmm. Very
All in the
extremely.
frequencies.
Mm-hmm. But it's all good now. Thank God.
Okay,
Yeah.
guys, I think I'm back.
Oh, you
Are
were
you lost
gone?
us?
But but don't think I'm not going to investigate that. I'm going back to that video. I'm going to have to see what
Mm-hmm.
happened. Because it wasn't in that video.
Yeah, well, I gotta get ready to go.
All right, Jazz.
I
We
Have a good party.
know.
Enjoy the party.
Yep, have a
I
good
gotta get
party.
ready to go.
We are,
Oh,
no, we said thank you for
thank
stopping
you.
by.
Yeah,
We
we're gonna have a
always
great
enjoy
time.
you. Yep. We always enjoy your
Oh well,
wisdom and your input. But
I enjoy stopping by to your place. It's
thank you.
nice, you know.
Thank
It's so I'm honored. I really am, you know, from seeing you and getting to know you just in the chat and then now getting to know you and how smart you are and how keen you are and what a loving, warm just person you are overall and the
thank you. But don't piss me off. Don't try me.
I
I
said
told you that.
auntie. I
I
didn't
know
say
you.
weak. I didn't say sucker. I didn't say none of that.
You better believe it. None of that, Jag.
And Nick,
and I
it's always a pleasure. I gotta
same here.
go. Y'all have a
Okay.
great show.
You
All
too.
right.
And I love you. I love you all. Thank you so
Love
much.
Love
you,
you
Really.
and
too,
thank you for
Jay.
Thank you for
stopping
caring
by.
about this because the world needs to hear this.
No
Yes.
worries.
No, the world
Yeah.
needs to hear this, and we need to get this information out here to save our
Mm-hmm.
kids
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
because there's too many kids, you know, too
Mm-hmm.
many.
Yeah.
And they
I
gotta know
know.
there's another way.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely another way.
Cruelty free.
So,
All right,
Mm-hmm.
guys.
All right.
absolutely.
See you,
All
Jay.
right. We'll see you later, Jag. Love you, Jag. All right, guys. It's always a pleasure to have Jag stop by. It's always a pleasure to have Odell stop by. It's always a pleasure to have Nick on the channel with me. It is always a pleasure to have my little tardy nephew out there somewhere, Jay. He out there somewhere being tardy for the party on the channel as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, got some really good insight on what happened at the funeral. You know, that's something that I didn't know, and that's not on the internet. So it's always good to have
Mm-hmm.
the wisdom of somebody who was actually there, because that's
Yep.
very interesting. So, what did you get out of being at that funeral, and what happened? Let's write that down. What part did you play in this, Moni Love?
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly. All right, let's get back into the video, guys. Hopefully that demon don't come back into my video. Or
Oh, please.
They don't scare me at all, but I
Chris
don't like
threw
them.
him into a fish tank that was in the club, and the violators destroyed the whole club that night, and they had to shut down Queen Latifah's party. Wow.
Mm.
They say when everybody was running out of the club, Queen Latifah's mother was injured through the chaos. But after the incident, that's when Leor told Chris that he needed to make the decision to leave the streets alone if he wanted to roll with Rush Management. And that's when Chris agreed to leave the street life alone and focus on the music business. So now focused on Rush Management, he started working with artists like Eric B. and Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Public Enemy, Brand Nubians. He brought over his groups De La Soul and the Tribe Called Quest, and many more. It was crazy because when he started working there, he found out that Leor and Russell didn't read contracts.
I'm not even showing it.
And that's how he began to learn, because he was reading the contracts for them. And one of the first groups that Chris managed on his own was the group called Black Sheep. And he helped them get a deal with Mercury Records. But then around 1992, Russell and Leor ended up shutting down Rush Management. And that's when Chris really started focusing on Violator Records and management. Because when Russell and Leor had shut down Rush Management, they told Chris to go ahead and pick any artist they had as clients for himself to manage. And that's when he signed the Brand Nubians. He took Busta Rhymes solo because he didn't want to deal with the leaders of the new school. He took LL Cool J and many more. Also around that time, he ended up getting a production deal with Relativity Records. And he signed Chi Ali, Fat Joe, and the Beatnuts. Chi Ali was the first artist he signed to Relativity Records when he was about 14 years old. But then Leo Cohen told Chris to bring Violator Records to Def Jam Records, even though Chris had already brought those artists to him and let him hear them first, and he refused. But you know how that go. Now, in 1993, Chris was the security / doorman / promoter at the Tunnel nightclub in New York after his friend Jessica Rosenblum pulled him in. And one time Chris said Tupac came to the club and he had to send him back to his car because Tupac had a weapon on him. But he said Tupac gladly went back to his car, put his weapon away, then came back and partied. And according to Prodigy from the group Mobb Deep, He said Chris Lighty and Jessica Rosenblum would be at the door and it would let them get in for free all the time, plus give them free drink tickets. Plus, he said Chris Lighty would let them stash their weapons in the bathrooms like razors, screwdrivers, and guns. Wow. That's in his book too, a Rare Prodigy book. Now, in 1994, Chris had heard the song Indo Smoke by Mr. Grimm and Warren G, which was on the Poetic Justice soundtrack. And he ended up bringing Warren G to Def Jam. And on June 7th, 1994, Warren G released his debut album titled Regulate G-Funk Era, which hit #1 on the US top R&B hip hop albums Billboard charts, and it went certified triple platinum. Triple platinum. Now, by them signing Warren G, that kind of rubbed Suge Knight the wrong way, even though they didn't sign Warren G to Death Row when they had the chance, but Suge still felt that Warren G was his artist. So, when they were in LA at the Palace on Vine Street for a De La Soul performance, Suge Knight and his team came to approach Leor, but Chris and one of his friends had protected Leor with the gun he had on him and got Leor back to his hotel safe. When Chris stood up to Suge, Eric B from Eric B and Rakim, Eric B was with Suge. And Chris told Eric B that he should have told Suge about how he get down, because Eric B, you got to come back home to New York and it's going to be a problem. And once he told him that, Suge Knight and Eric B left without an incident. Then another incident he had with Suge was over Warren G's Regulate video shoot, because Suge didn't want Nate Dogg to appear in the video. So that's when Chris and his friend, they went to Suge's office. They rolled up to Suge's office to explain to him how, by them coming to an agreement, that they both can make money with Warren G and Nate Dogg on this Regulate song. And Suge had to ask Chris, why was he protecting that white man, Leo Cohen, so much?
Good question.
And Chris told Suge that he doesn't see color. He was all about the money and business.
Good answer.
Plus, Leo was like a father to Chris. They had like a father and son relationship. But, Suge Knight respected that. They shook hands and they did business, and the Regulate video took off. Now, in 1995, helped LL Cool J with his album titled Mr. Smith, which was his comeback album that ended up going double platinum. And Chris had just hired Mona Scott to join Violator management. And we all see what she has accomplished today with the Love and Hip Hop reality series. Mona Scott getting money right now. But Mona Scott was the one that got LL and Boyz II Men to do the song Hey Lover. Plus, she was the one that introduced the producers, the Track Masters, to Chris. Now, Chris also introduced the world to Foxy Brown by putting her on the song titled I Shotcha from that LL album. And then, Foxy released her album on November 19th, 1996, called Il Nana, which ended up going double platinum. And he also introduced Jay-Z to Leo Cohen, because Chris was the one that got Jay-Z to ghostwrite for Foxy. Jay-Z had written all her big singles on that album. And around that time, Chris' name was buzzing all through the industry, and that's when everybody wanted Chris on their team. RCA Records had made him a big offer to come to that company, but Leo Cohen literally cried and had begged him to stay at Def Jam Records. So, Chris decided to stay. In 1997, Chris landed a deal for LL.
Nick, question. Nick.
Yes.
Did you ever find out if L.A. Reid was at Def Jam when Chris Lighty passed in 2012?
Well, I had the page. I lost it. Hang on.
Okay. We'll just keep watching this until you find it again.
LL Cool J to do a Gap commercial in which LL in that Gap commercial wore a FUBU hat that launched Damon John's career, and which turned into a billion-dollar clothing company. And in 1998, rapper DMX was one of the hottest rappers out at that time for
Rest
Def
in peace,
Jam.
DMX.
DMX had heard that Chris Lighty had dissed him by saying his album wasn't all that, and he was a crackhead or something like that, right? But it wasn't Chris that said it. It was his brother, Dave Lighty, who had said it in a meeting. But all DMX heard was the name Lighty is the one that had dissed him in the Def Jam meeting. So when DMX seen him, he just sucker punched Chris in the mouth and knocked his tooth out. And Chris was so mad that he called the Violator crew to take it to the streets. He wanted to hurt DMX bad. But Leo Cohen saved DMX by giving Chris some points and royalties off the DMX next album, which was the album called Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, which ended up going triple platinum and #1 on the charts. So Chris got a real big check from that DMX incident that probably made DMX wish he never had hit him. You know, Dave Lighty in an interview said that that was the worst punch DMX could have thrown in his life because it cost him a big check. Wow, that's crazy. Now, on August 10th, 1999, Chris released the compilation album titled Violator, the album. And the first single was called Vibrant Thing by Q-Tip, which hit #1 on the Billboard Hot R&B Airplay charts. After that, Chris and Leo Cohen had a falling out over Irv Gotti because Chris felt he was too much of a loudmouth. But Irv was the new hot A&R bringing DMX and Ja Rule to Def Jam. And Leo wasn't really showing no love to Chris anymore, so Chris left Def Jam. And that's when Loud Records hired him as the executive vice president. And on July 24th, 2001, he released his second compilation album titled Violator, the album V2.0.
So what do you guys think about that? The fact that Chris left Def Jam, and shortly after that, I don't know if it was shortly or what year it was, but what do you think about that? All of a sudden, what's his name? Leo Cohen or whatever.
Leo
stopped paying attention to Chris because I guess he wasn't okay. And then so Chris left Def Jam. I wonder how long in between did that happen?
Auntie Leah.
I'm gonna write that down.
Auntie Leah, have a look in the back in the private.
Interesting though.
Auntie Leah.
Oh, and also around that time, he ended up meeting 50 Cent.
Yes,
yeah, he signed
private chat.
Yeah, have a look in the private chat in StreamYard, and I've given you the answer to the question about LA Reid and
okay, so okay. All right, so Nick discovered that LA Reid was not at Def Jam Records when Chris Lighty passed away. She said that Chris Lighty passed away on August 30, 2012, but LA Reid had stepped down as CEO March 2011. So shortly, like before that, well, not shortly, but a little over a year prior to that, looks like.
Not that long.
No, it wasn't quite a year. Yeah, it wasn't quite a year. Yep. So, okay, so we got that answered. I wonder who took his place.
Management. And you know, Chris tried to get 50 Cent a record deal, but every label was just turning him down because of his reputation. And he even brought him to Def Jam, but you know, more loyal to Irv and Ja Rule at that time.
What the heck was that?
He was on fire on the Billboard chart, so that wasn't going to work.
I don't know.
But Eminem heard 50 Cent's mixtape. You know what? The rest is history. Chris had, and they was off to the races. But then on January 16th, 2003, now the story goes with that incident, they say a man or men just walked up in the Violator building and let off shots, but no one was injured.
Okay, so that's interesting. So why would somebody walk into this building and let off shots? I guess that's kind of similar to when when Shakir Stewart, uh, they in his story, so he said that somebody from the radio station house. Remember that, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Why are people coming to the studio to pow up his studio? That is interesting and weird. Huh.
Some of his artists were present at the time in another room in the building, and his employees were in the office during the shooting, and they couldn't identify the shooter, nor could they tell if he acted alone or with. And Chris security team tried to chase whoever did the shooting, but they ended up getting the Busta Rhymes set up and riddled with bullets, parked in front of the Violator building. Now, Busta was not in the vehicle, thank God, but he and Chris, they drove the same type of car at the time. And after that incident, that's when Chris ended up getting a bulletproof vest. It's crazy because he was managing 50 Cent, and 50 Cent had so much beef in the street time. Plus, just a few months before Jam Master Jay of Run DMC was just murdered. And
yeah, I'm so confused. And what is going on in the listen? What is going on in the music industry where they acting like gangster executives? I mean, what is going on? You got people going to people's houses. You got to record labels. I mean, record studios and powering up studios. This all is crazy. What happened? I kind of think what happened in Chris's situation, which we'll learn something down in the throughout the video. There's a guy that's in prison now that's called Jimmy Henchman. Now, Jimmy Henchman was actually connected to Tupac Shakur's studio, powering.
Oh, okay.
Something was going on to where it was a witness that got on the stand and testified against Henchman and brought up Chris Lighty's name. By the way, and that's in here. I put the documents in here. Of course, I wasn't going to read them. I had somebody else was going to read them. So that's just what I do. But we'll get to that and try to figure that out as well.
And for that shooting at the office, Chris blamed Irv Gotti for the shooting at his office. And that's when Russell Simmons had to set up a meeting between Irv and Chris to squash the beef, but the beef didn't get solved. Now, what's crazy is one of Jimmy Henchman boys claimed he shot up the Violator office too. Chris and Jimmy Henchman had beef also. Some of Jimmy Henchman's former friends who turned informant had got on the stand and told the jury he was one of Jimmy Henchman's top henchmen and stated that he shot up Chris Lighty's office in retaliation for Jimmy Henchman. Once Jimmy Henchman started managing the game and then 50 Cent kicked him out of G Unit, that was more problems because the game and the 50 Cent, they had gotten to a shootout at the Hot 97 radio station. But the informant stated to the jury a bunch of incidents that had happened between Jimmy Henchman and Chris Lighty and 50 Cent in the G Unit.
Wow. So these are the court documents that this gentleman was just referring to. I kind of incorporate that into the video.
Did anything else happen with respect to the slap? Objection. Sustained. You mentioned that Jimmy had his son's mother press charges. What did you mean by that? He had him press charges against the dudes who assaulted his son? Criminal charges? Criminal. Were there any other charges? A lawsuit was filed. Do you know what happened to that lawsuit? It was dismissed. Now, you testified previously that Chris Lighty was the manager of G Unit. Have you ever seen Chris Lighty in person? Yes. When did you see him? Last time was at a New Year's Eve party. We was all at some hotel in Miami. When was that? Obviously New Year's Eve. But do you know what year? '07 going to '08, I think. Who was that? Just a bunch of family and friends. Was Jimmy there? Yes. Anyone else that you recall? Teddy, his son, his family and friends. And what happened when you saw Chris Lighty at that New Year's party? Nothing really. Went and shook somebody's hand that was with us, and me and Jimmy was standing there. So we said, there go that clown right there. And Chris walked away. Now, prior to this incident that night, where were you? We were at Jimmy's house having dinner. I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification as Government Exhibit 50. Do you recognize this photograph? Yeah, on the patio. Who is this? That's me and Jimmy. Which one is you? The one on the right. And the left is Jimmy. Where was this photograph taken? On his patio. Government offers Government Exhibit 50. Received. Moving forward a little bit in time, did there come a time when you spoke to Jimmy about action he wanted to take against Chris Lighty? Chris had some dude that was supposed to be allegedly a friend of his, and he had told Jimmy he'll give him an address of where him and Chris was meeting at. He said, but just don't kill him. Who was this who said this? Some guy that was supposed to be a friend of Chris. How did you learn about it? From Jimmy. So what did Jimmy tell you, if anything, he wanted to do? Said he just wanted to give Chris a leg shot.
Wow.
What's a leg shot? Have him shot in the leg.
Wow.
So did the defendant ask you to do anything in relation to this? One night he hit me up on the BlackBerry and was like, yo, light-skinned dude gonna be at this restaurant in Midtown somewhere in Manhattan.
Guys, just to be clear, the defendant that they're referring to is Jimmy Henchman. Now, Jimmy Henchman is some type of villain in this industry because, like I said, mentioned previously, he was one of the guys that set up Tupac at the studio in New York when he got, pow-powed up. So he's finally sitting behind bars, but, he's another suspect because he be trying to get back, at whatever that Chris Lighty and him had going on between each other. Could have been his guys, because it doesn't matter if he wasn't in jail back then. I don't believe he might be in, I don't know. But even behind bars, you can still get things done if you have that type of pull. From my understanding, Jimmy Henchman did have that type of pull.
He said, see if you can get somebody to come through and handle that. Did you know who he meant when he said light-skinned dude? Yeah, Chris Lighty. What was he telling you to do? Have somebody come through and give him a leg shot? You mentioned he said this to you on a BlackBerry. Was that your encrypted BlackBerry? Yes. Where did he say Chris Lighty was? And what did you do, if anything? I said, okay, and put the phone down, kept watching TV, hit him back a few minutes later and was like, yo, wait for my guy to hit me back, but I don't think it's going to happen. Then he hit me back asking me what's up, and I was like, nah, I don't think we're going to be able to come through. And then he was like, all right. Where were you at this time? I was at home. Where was home? It was in Jersey. And when you responded to the defendant, what were you telling him? I was telling him that I couldn't get nobody to do it. Somebody to do it? Nah, I told him it was a bad idea. Why did you think it was a bad idea? It was all going to point back to us. By that time, a dude, Lodi Mac, had got knocked off, so I was going to paper. It was a lot of going on with the drugs. Stash House had got raided. It was just too much going on to be having Chris clapped in the leg. Chris was a square. His father was ex-law enforcement. Nobody had time to hear right now. When said Chris was a square, what do you mean by that? He wasn't in the street, man. He had no street affiliation. Who gonna just walk up and shoot him in the leg for no reason? Do you remember approximately when this is? Probably had went to '09. Did you speak with Jimmy about this afterwards? Yeah, we spoke. He was just like, it could have got done. I was like, how, bro? I said, a loud shot in Midtown Manhattan, somebody going to jail, bro. And he was like, look, it could have got done. If I was around, I could have did it myself. Did you have any other conversations with Jimmy about Chris Lighty? Nah, another time Tori was setting up on him down at this restaurant in Houston. The same dude who was supposed to be Chris' friend was lining him up again. And Tori was sitting on him down at Houston's. And I found out about it, hit Tori up. What is Houston's? A restaurant. Where? They have them all over, but this one was down on Park and in the 20s. So what did the defendant tell you Tori was doing? Was sitting on Chris down there. What does that mean? Sitting there waiting for him to come out of Houston's to put the leg shot in him? And so what event? You said you contacted Tori, is that correct? Yeah, Tori is like, yo, it don't look good down here. There's a police car right in front of Houston's. I was like, all right, bro, you need to just spread out, then just go ahead and leave. He said, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. What did you mean by spread out? Leave. What did Tori tell you he was there to do? Give him a leg shot. Give who a leg shot? Chris Lighty. Did Tori say whether he was by himself or with others? He said he had his shooter with him. And how was it, if you know, that the defendant was getting information about the location of Chris Lighty? Somebody that was cool with Chris Lighty. How do you know that? From the defendant, from Jimmy. What did he tell you? He said he had somebody who was cool with Chris Lighty giving him information. Did you ever talk with the defendant about any other members of Chris Lighty's family? One time we were at leaving SOBs from a function. He had Jason drive him in this red expedition that D had. Whose red expedition? D. It was an older expedition. Jason was driving him in it. And then where were you?
Okay, guys, let's listen to this. I did find out when Jimmy Hinchman was sentenced to prison. It looks like Jimmy Hinchman, whose real name is James Roseman, was given 30 years, but he was not in jail at the time that it looks like that Chris passed away. Let me see. I'm trying to find the. Okay. Yep. It was in March 2014, so it was a couple of years after Chris Lighty was unalive, AJ Mizak. So he was very well out. He was out in the public, and you see he's trying to get people to go do something physically to Chris Lighty.
Right. Yep.
Crazy.
Yep.
Wow. So yeah, he was out. That's crazy work right there.
We was downtown Manhattan at this point, called SOBs. What kind of spot is SOBs? Like a bar, lounge, entertainment. And leaving there, and he said he had a line on Chris Lighty brother that live up in West, have Jason drive him. Spoke to him afterward and said he seen the dude up there. He sat on him for a while and he let some shots off at him. He said he think he hit him. He don't know, he said, but he let a few rounds off on him with his 22 with a silencer. So you had a conversation with the defendant. I was present for that conversation. People, yeah, see him, yes. And then afterwards, you said you had a conversation about what had happened? Yes. What did Jimmy say he had done? He said he sat up there for a while, sat on him, saw the dude, and he let some rounds off at him. What gun did you say he had? His 22 with a silencer. Did he talk about other members of G Unit at this time? No. Now, I am going to direct your attention to August of 2009. Did you have any conversations with Jimmy related to G Unit feud at that time?
All right, Alina.
He was going down to Miami for the weekend, Kez's birthday. We was throwing him a party and we was all going down there. He met me uptown by the barber shop because we had to talk about, I was asking him his opinion. I was like, yo, should I still mail this, ship this work in, or just wait until we get back from Miami? You said a barber shop. What barber shop was that? It was a barber shop I used to get my hair cut in Harlem on 145th between Amsterdam and Broadway. You met with the defendant there? Yes. What were you talking about? I was asking his opinion. I was just like, yo, y'all gonna be out of town in Miami. I said, should I just have this work shipped in? Because he was leaving on a Thursday. I know I was leaving on a Thursday.
And guys, also, I just want to add that the reason that he is in prison to never get out is murking for hire. And of course, DRREGS as well. But that's a coincidence. You're in prison for hiring someone to murk the person that killed your, unalived your child, which that's a hard pill to swallow. So it's interesting.
Very.
So your heart was like that.
I said, so should I have it shipped in, just held at the stash house, or just wait till we get back? What was the it? The coke. We had some work coming in from LA, so we was going over that. And so it was a sidebar. He was like, yo, when you see Tory man, tell him to give Slim some money. Slim told me they only gave him $1,000 and he just came home and that ain't no money. Dude making money right now. Tell him give him more than that. Slim wasn't just working for me. I was like, all right. He said, by the way, can I stop you for one moment? Who is Slim? Slim, Jimmy homeboy. I don't know him. Have you ever met him? Nah. You ever spoken to him? No. You knew him as Jimmy's friend? Yes. What did he tell you about Slim? Tell Tory to give him some money. He just came home. Did he say where he had just come home from? Yeah, from jail. And why did he say you should tell Tory to give him money? He said tell him Slim wasn't just working for me. He was working for him too. Then he said, by the way, Slim was locked up with the dude, Lodi Mac, and the dude didn't know that Jimmy and Slim was cool. He have said Lodi Mac was up there bragging about smacking his son. Just talking reckless. He said him and Slim still in contact. Slim befriended the dude, and Lodi Mac on his way home, he said, so Slim gonna stay in touch with him, so he gonna possibly line him up when he get home. He said because these dudes ain't gonna be happy until they go to a funeral.
Interesting.
So what did the defendant say he was having Slim do with respect to Lodi Mac? He didn't say he was having Slim do nothing. Slim was taking this initiative on his own. He was like, yo, I'm cool with the dude. And Slim is staying in touch with him. He said Slim would possibly line him up for me when he get home. Your attention to September. Just a moment. Go ahead. Thank you, Your Honor. To September of 2009. Did there come a time when you went to Atlanta? Yes. Why? Go to Atlanta every other week. That was my visitation situation with my kids. And my birthday was around the time also. Is Atlanta where your kids were living? Yes. When is your birthday? September 28th.
We're going to go ahead and play a second part of the testimony that also mentions Chris Lighty as well.
Let's get the witness and continue. The witness is on the stand, Your Honor. Forgive me, I didn't even look. Okay, let's go. Mr. McLeod, you are still under oath. Brian McLeod, called as a witness by the government, having been duly sworn, testified as follows. Mr. McLeod, when we left off yesterday, you were talking about your time in the Tombs with Mr. Roseman. Do you remember that? Yes. Did there come a time when you were released from the Tombs? Yes, I was transferred to Rikers Island route to go upstate to finish my 2 to 4 concurrent sentence. And did you finish that sentence? Yes, I did.
Hey, Truth Only.
When were you released? December 10th, 1998. After being released, were you on parole? Yes. Did you commit any crimes on parole? Yes, I returned to selling narcotics, crack in the Midtown Manhattan vicinity, and I was arrested subsequently on June 16, 1999. Following that arrest, what happened? I was taken to Rikers Island, where I received a 2 to 4 sentence, ran concurrent with the parole violation. Did you serve that sentence? Yes, I did. When did you get out?
Okay, guys, this is a different witness. I'm not sure who this witness is because I didn't want to start all the way from the beginning of the testimony because we've already heard a lot of testimony. I just wanted to focus around some of the content that mentioned Chris Lighty. But I'm just going to say this. I would have asked for a mistrial or something because how did the judge not know the witness was on the stand? That just don't make no sense to me. Just saying, that's weird.
I was released to work release February 2nd, 2001, and I remained at Fulton Work Release Facility until April 24th, 2001, where I was released on regular parole. After being released on parole in April 2001, did there come a time when you got a job? Yes. Where? Well, in work release that February, I worked at Popeyes. It's a chicken spot on 13th and 1st. And then in May of 2001, I worked as a GED and math coordinator at Fortune Society. What is the Fortune Society? It's a not-for-profit that specializes in helping at-risk youth and ex-offenders and people who are HIV/AIDS positive, and it's like a social advocacy, counseling, educational agency in New York City. When you worked at Fortune Society, where did you report to work? I think the address is 53 West 23rd Street. In Manhattan? Yes. So that's 23rd and what's the cross? It's closer to 6th. It wasn't between Broadway and 6th, but it's closer to 6th. What was your work schedule? Monday through Friday, basically 9:30 to 9 to 5:30. Were you paid for that? Yes, I was. Did there come a time when you worked for James Roseman, the defendant? Yes. When did you start working for Roseman? I would go see Jimmy regularly, but in 2002, he expressed a need to have someone be a manager in the evening at the studio, so I would say around April, May of 2002. What was Roseman doing at the time? Roseman was managing his artists and running his label. Did he have a company? Yes. What was his company called? At the time, it was Henchman Entertainment. Did the name of the company later change? Yes. What did it change to? Czar Entertainment. Did what the business change or just the name? Seemed just the name change. Who did Roseman manage? He managed Mike Tyson, The Game, Mario Winans, Sharisa, Black Rob, Craig Mack. That's off the top of my head. When you say the game, Dr. Dre, and later worked with 50 Cent, what kind of artist? He's a rapper. Where was Jimmy's company, Henchman Company, located? 11 West 25th Street. Can we publish Government Exhibit 600Y? Do you recognize the street shown in this photograph? Yes. What street is that? It's 25th Street. And can you see in the photo the entrance to the building where Jimmy's company was located? Yes. Can you just in the photo? There's an awning that says Noir Blanc, and it's a little past that, and there's a 7-Eleven on the, I guess, the partition that comes out. Corner,
Like we're
literally.
buffering a little
I
bit,
would go
guys.
up the block of Toy Something or on 23rd, let out to 24th, and then I would just come around the corner. So a 5-minute walk. How did you become involved in working for Roseman's business? Jimmy and I met, and he expressed a need to have someone at the studio, and I was always there periodically off and on. So I just stepped in to fill the position. What did you do at the company? Basically, he was concerned about the people abusing phone privileges, computers, damaging property, stealing. There may be something that just needed to be kind of reined in to keep a check on the bills, the expenses that were accruing as a result of people kind of not doing what they were supposed to be doing. So could you say I was there to do that? And when you say he, are you talking about Rosemond? Yes. How often did you work at the company? Pretty regularly, Monday through Friday. What time of day would you work? It would be after I left my other job, so 6-ish to midnight, sometimes later. Did you get paid for what you did? No. Did Rosemond give you compensation in any way? Well, if I needed something, Jimmy would, if I asked him for it, he would give me something. And how much money would Rosemond give you around this time? Well, I was working and a lot of people came to Jimmy for things, so I tried to be as self-sufficient as possible. But it might be a couple hundreds, it might be 50, it might be a haircut, it might be a cab, something of that nature. Did you have any other arrangement with Rosemond relating to music? Jimmy always made it known if I had an artist or if I had someone who wanted to record, that the studio was there as long as I went through the proper channels that could happen. At the time, did anyone else who you were in the Tombs with, Rosemond with, work for Rosemond? Derek was always around, and when Jonathan Brown came home from jail in 2002, he was always around.
Hey Jay, what's
Okay,
good?
can we publish Government Exhibit 16? Who is that again? Jonathan Brown. And can we publish Government Exhibit 5? Who is that? Derek Grant. What, if anything, did Grant do for Rosemond? Grant would accompany Rosemond to events. There were a couple of times where Grant, you could say, acted as muscle for him. You could say he was sort of security.
G-Unit. Now, it was also reported that Diddy tried to broker a truce in his office between Jimmy Henchman and Chris Lighty, but that didn't work. They ended up getting into a fight, and Diddy had to break up the fight. You know what's crazy? All of this, all the court documents of the people testifying in court about the Jimmy Henchman, Chris Lighty, and 50 Cent beef is on YouTube, y'all. It's on a channel called Crown TV Courts. Y'all can check it out there. It's some crazy mess that was going on during that time.
That's actually where I just got the video of the court transcripts for the Jimmy Henchman case. Yeah. So that is a very good website. Very good website. Welcome everybody. Welcome Jamie Zach to the stage. What you got going on with your hair? It look cute.
I love it.
Me too.
Wow. But anyway, let's get back to the Chris getting 50 cents signed to Shady Aftermath, because on February 6, 2003, 50 Cent released his debut album titled Get Rich or Die Trying, which ended up selling today over 13 million copies as we speak. Wow. That was a big album, y'all. Get Rich or Die Trying. Now, after that, right, that same year in 2003, Chris was offered the senior vice president job at Jive Records. And the first act he signed was Mobb Deep. He had brought Mobb Deep to Jive Records. Also, that same year in 2003, he released his third Violator album titled V3, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. And he also got married to his longtime girlfriend named Veronica that 2003 year. And Leo Cohen was his best man. Then he helped 50 Cent launch his G Unit clothing company through Mark Echo. Then they put out a video game called Bulletproof. And then they launched the G Unit sneakers through Reebok. In 2004, Chris had put together one of the biggest brand endorsement deals in hip hop history, which is the 50 Cent's vitamin water drink deal.
That was a big deal.
Now, the beverage company Glasso gave 50 Cent a stake in the company and his own great flavored vitamin water. And then Coca-Cola bought Glasso 3 years later for over $4 billion. Wow. They say 50 Cent's take was estimated to be worth up to $100 million. Man, telling you. And you know what? Chris received an undisclosed sum too. Some say he made like $10 million off that deal. Then in 2005, him and 50 Cent inked the deal to do a movie, which was the Get Rich or Die Trying, which did millions in the box office. Plus, in that same year, Chris and boxer Winky Wright formed Winky Promotions to get into the boxing world.
Winky.
In 2006, another group Chris managed was the group 3 6 Mafia, who ended up winning Best Original Song at the Academy Awards in 2006 for the song called It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp for the movie Hustle and Flow, which is a classic movie. I love that movie. Also, that same year, in 2006, Forbes magazine named him one of the industry's most influential talent managers. In 2007, Chris ended up being sued by a Hollywood agent named Michael Ovitz. Now, this guy, Michael Ovitz, was supposed to be helping to make all
running with Scott LaRock and
Jay Mizak, I said you should have been here when the demon showed up in the video, man.
Oh my God.
There was a demon on the big D, yeah.
Oh my God. It was
But also that same year, 2009,
yeah,
he lost millions of dollars investing with Bernie Madoff, who later went to prison for fraud and scamming for a total of around $50 billion in a Ponzi scheme. Now, Chris said that what he lost wasn't life-threatening, but according to his brother Dave Lighty, he said he believed his depleted account with Bernie Madoff was at one point worth $23 million. Wow. That's a big loss, y'all.
Yeah.
That Bernie Madoff scheme, that was crazy. Now, around 2010, during the recession, Chris had to make some adjustments in the music industry because, you know, the game had changed. You know, digital downloads was taking over, so the money was way less now. So he had to cut a lot of his staff and downsize everything. But also that same year, in 2010, he got a Sprite soda deal to Drake and his team, which was worth $850,000. In an interview, you know, Chris said he passed that Sprite deal to Drake's people because he wanted to see another manager succeed. That's how Chris was. He wanted everybody to win. And he also started managing Diggy Simmons, who is the son of Rev Run and nephew of Russell Simmons, and helped him get a deal with Atlantic Records. In 2011, he launched a website called pleaselistentomydemo.com. And he created the website because everywhere he went around the world, everybody wanted him to hear their music. And he also did a partnership with Primary Wave Music to create Primary Violator, which was going to be a talent management firm with his friend Blue Williams. Blue Williams used to manage the group Outkast.
It
In
was good, Debbie.
2012, he started to manage rapper Yo Gotti, and his brother Mike Lighty was his road manager. But then, on August 30th, 2012,
Salute to
Chris
Mike.
Lighty was found dead in the backyard of his South Riverdale, Bronx apartment from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Chris Lighty had it all: money, family, and a dream job working with the biggest stars in the world.
The Mount Rushmore of hip-hop business, hip-hop management, I think Chris has to be one of the faces up there.
He was the Michael Jordan of music management in the hip-hop world.
So why would a man who had it all choose to end it all?
They say it was suicide.
Or did he?
I never really believed it.
The police took the word of Veronica stating that my brother was on medication.
I was there when she told him.
Just to be clear, Veronica was Chris Lighty's wife at that time. Two, they were having marital problems. And on the day that the alleged suicide happened, there was moving trucks at the house moving his stuff out of the house. So there were witnesses there.
Wow.
Him, oh, weren't you suicidal last year? Why don't you go ahead and kill yourself?
That's good, Lady Classic.
Suicide or something more?
I definitely believe that my brother was murdered. I believe him in place, and I believe that my brother was shot and killed.
I don't think Chris killed himself. I don't believe that.
It just was a lot going on that just didn't make no sense, you know what I'm saying?
If someone told me in 86 and 2008, you'll still be in the music business, I would have said, yeah, right. 2008, will I be alive?
For everybody else, but no one's doing for me. No one's doing for me.
The amazing life and controversial death of Chris Lighty on Celebrity Crime Files.
And guys, just to let you know that episode of Celebrity Crime Files has disappeared.
Whoa!
All I could find was a trailer. I cannot find that video.
Wow.
Gone. Rubbed.
To the head. Now, the story goes, now see, on that day, right, Chris had come home early from work, and when he arrived, he saw his wife Veronica in moving trucks in front of his home. Veronica was kicking him out of his own house.
Wow.
Now, according to his daughter Tiffany, who had spent the whole summer with them after graduating college, she said Chris and Veronica pretty much was arguing and fighting the whole summer. So Tiffany had packed up and left that day.
And just let me ask you, why is it that every time the money start running low, that the spouse always got to start acting amok? What happened to the vows that you made in your marriage? It just it goes right out the window. Long as the money was coming in, she can get whatever she wants to, everything was fine. But soon as the industry changed and he started making less money, all of a sudden the marriage is bad and you get out. I can't stand some people.
And Chris took her to the airport to get on a plane to go to Toronto, Canada. So when Chris got back home, that's when him and his wife began to argue. And the next thing you know, he was found dead in the backyard by the patio with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, lying face up with a 9mm pistol next to his body.
Okay, guys, I want
She
you
did it.
to pay special attention to the discrepancies that you're about to hear.
She did it.
And you know, Veronica called the police. His wife Veronica called the
Oh, yeah.
police. And when they
You
arrived,
already know.
she told him that
Yeah,
Chris said
me
he was
too.
tired of
I know
all
that
this
too.
and just shot himself. And she also showed the cops all the medication he was taking at the time for his depression.
That's why you show
And
that.
supposedly, he had also got a phone call
Yeah.
from his accountant right before about a new tax bill he also owed. Now, one of the cops had put out a statement saying they were arguing about the divorce, and it came up that he owed the IRS money. And that's when he went out to the backyard, got his 9mm gun, then fired. But here's the crazy part, though. Now, there were two movers. Like I said, the moving guys was there. There were two movers that the cops didn't question. And there was two nannies at the house that the cops didn't question. Now,
okay, similar thing happened with Shakur Stewart, right? They didn't question everyone at the scene when his so-called unaliving happened. They didn't question nobody. Why is the police not question? Huh? No, I'm talking about Shakur Stewart, the one that we just did earlier this week. The police didn't question everybody in the
I'm trying to
house.
say it's the same type of shit. Same scenario.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Same scenario. Weird, because I've never heard of the police letting anybody go from a scene of a crime until they've done a thorough investigation, right? And talk to everybody that was there. Weird.
Crime of passion.
Yeah, nah, rubbish.
Yeah. Straight out.
According to the movers who were going in and out the house while moving things into the trucks, they said Chris and his wife Veronica were arguing and fighting upstairs, and then she came downstairs and said he had shot himself, but he was found dead outside by the patio. You know, Chris was a big guy, 6'2", 220 pounds. So family and friends wants to know how Chris ended up outside in that backyard.
If they was upstairs.
You know, by that time, everybody had pulled up by then to the house. Family members had pulled up when they heard the news. His friends, families pulled up. Veronica family members were there. The crazy part is this. They say her ex-husband was already there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
don't know
How
about
did the
that one.
ex-husband get there? How was the ex-husband there when the police arrived?
Weird.
Make that make sense.
The plots.
How was he already there?
No,
that's right. And what about that stuff that they sprayed, the luminol? See if there's any blood, in the house. Like, did they not do the bathroom where they was allegedly arguing and fighting? Per the movers who have nothing to do with the crime, nothing to do with it. No, they have no reason to lie.
Right.
Crazy.
You know, Busta Rhymes, Q-Tip, everybody had pulled up to the house minutes later, but her ex-husband was already there before everybody. Now, his childhood friend Daryl from his crew, the Violators, and his brother Mike Lighty had to carry his body out because he was too heavy for the medical examiner that was on the scene to lift him.
What?
You know, one of Chris' friends had showed up before the cops arrived.
Yep.
And the movers told him that they too were confused at how the shooting unfolded because they were inside and out the home moving things to the truck. Then it was reported that the two children that Chris and Veronica had, they had run to a nearby park to escape Chris and Veronica's argument. But that friend that showed up before the cops arrived said the movers told him that the kids were taken to the park after the gunshot.
I was just going there.
But you know, there were all types of rumors going around. And many of his close friends and families just don't believe that he took his own life. Now, they ended up doing 2 autopsies on him. And on the first autopsy, the medical examiner ruled his death a suicide by a self-inflicted gunshot to the head. Then they found 2 bullet holes in his head. One when the shot went in,
wait,
the other hole was where it went out.
Oh, okay.
And he was
I was about to
pronounced
say,
dead
wait
at
a minute.
11:43 a.m. And by 6 p.m., a detective declared his death a suicide with no
from a
foul.
pistol, from a handgun. Nah.
The hip-hop world is mourning the loss of manager Chris Lighty, who is dead of an apparent suicide. The 44-year-old founder of Violator Management reportedly shot himself with a 9mm pistol outside his Bronx home after a heated argument with his estranged wife of 7 years. Lighty was at the 3-story townhouse to move out as his wife had filed for divorce last year. The rap mogul was also facing financial troubles, according to the New York Daily News, that included unpaid taxes and an overdrawn bank account. Lighty was instrumental in the careers of heavy hitters like 50 Cent, Mariah Carey, and Busta Rhymes, and was heralded for his business acumen, both inside and out of the hip-hop community. Many stars took to Twitter to offer their remembrances.
Excuse us. Make way, please. Excuse us. Yeah, right now.
See who was there, right?
Nora, you asked a question that I ain't even respond to yet. You said, did Chris kill himself because you can't believe it? What we know of Chris won't allow us to accept that possible reality. But what he was going through, I don't know if we understood the significance of how serious it was, Nee. I don't have the answer for that, but I'm gonna leave you with that. You can take that and walk with it and figure out what it is that you think I might be saying. But what I am saying is there ain't no statute of limitation to a murder neither. So I ain't gonna stop till I get to the bottom of it. I need to take a break.
Yeah. Hey, it's your boy Max Payne, back at y'all with another one. And today, we're gonna be talking about the mysterious death of Chris Lighty. Daryl Stephen Chris Lighty was born May 8th, 1968, and he died at the age of 36. He was an American music industry executive. He co-founded Violator Records and a management and marketing company which represented hip-hop and R&B artists such as Busta Rhymes, A Tribe Called Quest, Nas, Ja Rule, Mobb Deep, Missy Elliott, LL Cool J, Noriega, Uncle Murder, 50 Cent, Mariah Carey, and Sean P. Diddy Combs. Lighty was born in Bronx, New York, and raised in Bronx River Projects. He had a single mother and 5 siblings. He attended Samuel Gompers High School, and he did not attend college. And he stated that he got his MBA in hell. He basically meant that he got his college degree in the streets, in a dangerous neighborhood. Lighty began working in the music industry by carrying vinyl records for DJ Red Alert. Later, Russell Simmons' company, Rush Artist Management, hired him. After leaving Rush, Lighty co-founded Violator Management with Mona Scott Young in 1996. The company is named after a gang he belonged to in the Bronx. Violator was responsible for getting LL Cool J his first Gap commercial. In 1997, Lighty developed endorsements for Sprite with A Tribe Called Quest, AT&T with Diggy Simmons, and Mountain Dew with Busta Rhymes. So basically, he changed the game. He merged like artists and big brands like Sprite, Coca-Cola, AT&T. He made it possible for like 50 Cent and Vitamin Water. He paved the way for artists to get other streams of income. Lighty worked for Def Jam, Jive, and Loud Records. He was chief executive of the brand Asset Group in 2004. Lighty brokered the largest brand endorsement deal in hip-hop history to date. He was the architect of what turned out to be one of the most lucrative deals in hip-hop history, 50 Cent's Vitamin Water Pact. When Coca-Cola paid $4.1 billion for Vitamin Water's company, 3 years later, 50 Cent received $100 million from this deal, and Lighty received an undisclosed sum.
I feel the artist should know the sound scan because I think it's the manager's duty to do so. So when I tell you you need to go out on the road or need to go to the radio station, you understand why your sound scan went from 80,000, you come in big, and all of a sudden you're dropping to 20,000 units, and you're like, what happened? Oh, the public hates me. What's going on? Get out there and support your record. You have to understand what it means to maintain a record.
When artists in the game talk about Chris Lighty, they speak very highly of him. I really never have heard of anybody in the rap game saying anything negative about Chris Lighty. He was always willing to give out game. He just wanted to elevate rappers, and he wanted to innovate the rap game. And that's what he did. He was still young. He was in his mid-30s, and he was working alongside executives that were in their 50s and 60s. Lyra Cohen was young at the time, but he was side by side with these heavy hitters in the rap game. And without a doubt, if he would have been alive today, he would have been up there with Jay-Z, Kanye West, Lyra Cohen, like the top dogs in the industry. But his life got cut short tragically, and we're going to get into that now.
Shining too bright.
They say Chris Lighty died by S-word, a self-inflicted gunshot. And there's a lot of speculation behind his death. A lot of people don't believe that he did off himself. Baden, which is like the most famous doctor that performs autopsies on celebrities, he was hired to do a second autopsy on Chris Lighty, and multiple investigations have been made. Now, I'm not going to speculate on what happened to him, but I'm going to bring some things to light. And
is he the same autopsy or coroner that did the autopsy on Kim Porter, Michael Jackson, people of that? They said that he does a autopsy on a lot of famous people. What was his name? I didn't hear. Did anybody hear his name?
Nope.
Did anybody hear his name? Maybe they'll say it again. Hold on.
Basically show what might have pressured him to do what he did.
I honestly can't wrap my head around the idea of him shooting him.
He was always willing to give out game. He just wanted to elevate, and he wanted to innovate the rap game. And that's what he did. He was still young. He was in his mid-30s, and he was working alongside executives that were in their 50s and 60s. Lyra Cohen was young at the time, but he was side by side with these heavy hitters in the rap game. And without a doubt, if he would have been alive today, he would have been up there with Jay-Z, Kanye West, Lyra Cohen, like the top dogs in the industry. But his life got cut short tragically, and we're going to get into that now. They say Chris Lighty died by S-word, a self-inflicted gunshot. And there's a lot of speculation behind his death. A lot of people don't believe that he did off himself. And 50 Cent has hired private investigators to investigate Dr. Baden, which is like the most famous doctor that performs autopsies on celebrities. He was hired to do a second autopsy on Chris Lighty, and multiple investigations have been made. Now, I'm not going to speculate on what happened to him, but I'm going to bring some things to light and basically show what might have pressured him to do what he did.
I honestly can't wrap my head around the idea of him shooting himself. You know, so I mean, I don't have all the information, so I don't point or say anything other than what's being said publicly. but I don't believe that.
You don't
Just because my
believe that
personal
that
actions with him, never possible.
Now we're going to get into some details behind the scenes about Chris Lighty. Chris Lighty had a well-known beef with Jimmy Henchman. Jimmy Henchman was like the arch enemy of 50 Cent. Jimmy Henchman was also the game's manager. I'm not putting the blame on him, but he could have contributed to causing anxiety and depression for Chris Lighty. Now, it has come out by the shooter of Tupac Shakur that Henchman was behind the shooting of Tupac Shakur in Times Square coming out of a recording studio. And some other details surfaced about this individual in a recent trial. He is currently serving life in federal prison. Henchman is accused of having G-Unit associate Lodi Mack murdered, okay? But during the trial, something interesting happened. One of his co-defendants started testifying against Jimmy Henchman, and he proceeded to tell the court that Henchman had a serious beef with Chris Lighty. On one occasion, he had Chris Lighty's car shot up. On another occasion, he followed Chris Lighty to a restaurant and tried to have somebody give him a quote-unquote leg shot, but that never happened. On another situation, he followed Chris Lighty's brother to upstate New York and had shots let off at Chris Lighty's brother. So you can see how serious this feud was between Jimmy Henchman and Chris Lighty. I do not know why Jimmy Henchman had beef with Chris Lighty, but Jimmy Henchman, when he was on the streets, is not somebody that you wanted to have problems with. He is going to take it to the extreme. Now, before we get into the official reports of Chris Lighty's death, I want to give my opinion. I personally do not feel like Jimmy Henchman was involved in the death of Chris Lighty, but I do believe that it was one of the contributing factors of him taking his own life. You know, when you have money issues, marital issues, issues with the IRS, and then you have wolves on the streets that want to come at you and that are trying to cause imminent harm to you, that can make you depressed, stressed out, and it could push you to the limit. Now, here is the reports of Chris Lighty's official death. On August 30th, 2012, Lighty was found dead on the patio of his South Riverdale, Bronx apartment from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. The New York Daily News reported that a gunshot was heard and Lighty was found lying face up with a 9mm pistol next to his body. Forbes magazine reported that he had been involved in an argument with his wife not too long before his body was discovered. Lighty's brother and many other celebrity figures stated that they did not believe that the death was a suicide and that the family would be staging its own private independent investigation and would share any solid findings with the public. Rapper 50 Cent, a client and close friend of Chris, also questioned the suicide claim. He hired a team to investigate the details of the incident at the request of Lighty's mother. Now, to wrap this video up, I just want to say rest in peace to Chris Lighty. You know, he's well known in the industry as one of the best managers to ever live. I do believe, in my honest opinion, that he did do what the report said happened. I believe the pressures of life got to him. And, you know, just him with the beef and the money and the divorce and the kids and the settlements and the child support. I just believe it became too much for him and he folded under pressure. Sometimes in life, you're going to go through some heavy shit. You're going to go through breakups. You're going to go through divorces. You're going to have money issues. What you want to do is you want to stick it out. God might be trying to prepare you for something greater in the future. So before you do something drastic, right? If you're going through something similar to this, you know, pack your bags, sell everything, and move to a different environment and just get away from everything. And when you gain clarity, that's when you can make a decision. You know what I'm saying? So rest in peace, Chris Lighty. We're gonna wrap this up. It's your boy Max Payne back with another one. Please like the video and subscribe. All of this is public information. You can find the trial documents on Crown TV on YouTube about Jimmy Henchman. And I don't believe he was responsible. So let's not get that twisted. I just wanted to give a backstory, and I wanted to detail some of the things that was going on in Chris's life before this happened to him, okay? So until the next one, peace.
I'll play. So basically, they investigated his death for about 7 hours. Then, his family got a second autopsy done by Michael Baden, who was a famous forensic pathologist who is known for his independent opinions on deaths. Plus, he has testified in several high-profile cases, including the O.J. Simpson trial. But Chris's family wanted him to test to see if Chris had gun residue on his hand if he took his own life. But the crazy part is the family never got the results from him.
Wait, this is the second incident where they failed to conduct gunpowder residue. They didn't do it with Shakira Stewart either. That is pretty darn weird, guys.
Sure is.
And okay, so it looks like Kat got us the answer. The Dr. Michael Baden, he's his top 3 celebrities that he performed autopsies on was JFK. Wow. Nicole Brown Simpson and Jeffrey Epstein. So no, he's not the same coroner that did Michael Jackson, Kim Porter. So wow, how many coroners on payroll? Just asking.
They never got the results from Michael Baden. Then 50 Cent said he don't believe Chris killed himself over money because Chris had just agreed to work with him on a tour deal worth $4 million. So 50 Cent hired a private investigator, an attorney named Scott Lehman, to launch a new investigation into Chris's death. And Scott Lehman said that the main problem that he encountered was that the NYPD did not do a thorough investigation into Chris' death. He wants answers as to why a gunpowder residue test was not conducted on Chris' hands, and he also wants a DNA test conducted on the weapon used in the death, something he claims was never completed. Plus, the medical examiner's office currently possesses a sample to initiate a test of Chris' hands and clothes for gunshot residue, but that test has yet to be conducted. And Scott Lehman and his team attempted to obtain the samples so it could be tested, but the piece of evidence has sat dormant in the office of the chief medical examiner. He said for months they have requested that the sample be tested and even offered to pay any costs relating to the testing, but their offer was ignored. He also stated that you would think Veronica would want to talk to them for this investigation to have this solved, but she has not cooperated so far, and he doesn't think that it's going to change. Wow.
Yeah.
But Chris' mother and his family got an online petition for supporters called iPetitions.com for them to reopen the case. Now,
yeah, for sure.
Chris's wife, Veronica Lighty, told the media that her husband, Chris, who had made millions in endorsement deals for artists including 50 Cent, LL Cool J, and Missy Elliott, was suffering from financial stress. And there were also rumors about Chris and Veronica's rocky relationship.
Well, I'm going to say this, ma'am. I don't want to hear it from you. I don't want to hear anything from you because you're the same lady who said, go ahead. Jamie,
I was going to say, who isn't suffering from financial stress?
Yeah, right. The world is suffering from financial stress.
You don't think about suicide. Yeah, they can.
No, you think about how you're gonna get the yeah. But who runs and get the medication? I'm gonna run and get my husband medication, and I'm gonna just show it to you so you can know that he's depressed. And no, he wanted to die, so just let him die. He wanted to die. That's what he wanted. So don't even try to save him. Just let him die because this is what he wanted. Man,
knew he was worth more.
Who sent you? Yeah. And what about the life insurance?
Before he died, because just a year before, in 2011, Veronica had filed for divorce, but retracted her original request for divorce as a Father's Day's gift to Chris. She had also put out a statement that
plotting.
her husband Chris was too smart of a man. He was a genius, and no smart man is going to leave his children for fighting with his wife. That makes absolutely no sense. Wow. She said they had a passionate relationship, and they did fight all the time, but she and her husband had worked out their financial difficulties and that they were not getting divorced, even though she had filed for divorce, but retracted it 2 days before Father's Day.
Ma'am, did you have moving trucks at the damn house that day that he allegedly out himself? What are you talking about? That alone should have got a search warrant and arrest warrant for your ass. What are you talking about? Why were the moving trucks there? Ma'am, I call BS.
I thought it was before.
That was her gift to him.
304.
She also said they were not in debt for $5 million, but Chris did have a lot of weight on his shoulders. And she said, let him die proud, at peace, because
did y'all hear that?
That's what he wanted.
Let him die proud, at peace. I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't think that anybody that unalives themselves think that this is a prideful death. No. That's taking the coward's way out. What are you talking about? Her wig on too tight. She got it from China. She got that wig from China, ma'am. You should have got virgin hair.
Veronica's close friend named Norman Downs
can afford it now.
Said he was in a lot of pain and he possibly had some financial difficulties, but he and his wife Veronica didn't get in the fight that day.
Lying.
The only person that really knows is Chris, and he ain't here.
In those movers.
Wow.
They know.
Now, in his will, which was created in 2007, it said that his entire estate was left to Veronica. And he also leaves a $1.6 million.
What a coincidence that she was putting him out that day. Allegedly. No, it wasn't no allegedly. That's what the facts were, because there were moving trucks there, right? But you still was a beneficiary of his entire estate.
Nah,
so, did he
sound like she forged his signature and already had
sound
this
like
plan.
To me. That's what it sounds like to me. So before he can change his will, you took him out, allegedly.
Trust fund
maybe even
to
all
his
that.
children.
Right.
Yeah.
But people close to him said they were fighting a lot over cheating on each other and a bunch of other stuff, and there was a police report that indicated that Veronica was once abused by Chris. Back on August 28th, 2005, police responded to a 911 call at the Lighty residence. When they arrived, they discovered that Chris had split Veronica's lip open with his fist and left numerous bruises on other parts of her body. Chris was arrested and charged with battery.
That's
but
what did it.
Veronica declined to pursue the case.
Yep.
But
She
a
got her
lot of his
revenge.
family and
That's what it
friends didn't care too much for his wife, Veronica.
Gotta be that,
Chris's
right?
mother said Chris needed medical attention more than once, like the time when his wife Veronica had broken a champagne bottle over Chris's head. And his mother also feels the city did not do a thorough enough investigation with this case involving her son, because there were 2 movers at the house that day that were not questioned. And there were 2 nannies at the house that was not questioned. Now, Chris's daughter, Tiffany, said she had witnessed fights where his wife, Veronica, would try to make him hit her so she can call the cops on him to get him arrested. She also heard Veronica tell Chris, "Weren't you suicidal last year? Why don't you go and kill yourself?"
That's cruel.
And she also witnessed her hit Chris in the head with an object that left him with a big knot on his head. Now,
yeah, she got a nasty
Chris's brother, Mike
mentality.
Lighty, feels that Chris was murdered because his theory was this. He believes that after Chris took his daughter Tiffany to the airport that day, Veronica didn't think he was coming back to the house. She probably thought he was going straight to his office.
That's why the ex-husband was there in the closet.
To the house,
An
argument took place, and he believes Chris was murdered because Veronica and her ex-husband were the only two people to be at the scene. And why didn't the cops investigate them for gun residue on their hands?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what Mike Light thinks what happened to his brother.
I will say
Chris.
this, that who knows who in the New York had the whole New York Police Department in their pocket? Anybody know? Who at that time, during that season, had the whole arrest my case, Your Honor. Arrest my case, Your Honor. The whole New York police was on payroll.
Yep.
He said her ex-husband happens to be the first guy on the scene. So if her ex-husband is the first guy on the scene and she's saying she was the only one there, why weren't their clothes, their hands tested to make sure this wasn't a murder?
Because let me say this, because he wasn't just on the scene, he was in the closet hiding. And probably may have got caught, may have been a tussle between Chris and the ex-husband. Veronica sneaks up, pow, pow. Allegedly. Yeah. Allegedly, but it don't make no sense right here.
No.
Now, also, Mike Lighty stated that after he helped put Chris's body in the ambulance,
and who moved him?
The nurses told him that Veronica said that the family didn't want an autopsy.
What?
Wow. But then you got some that say he was stressed out. You know, some people say Chris was stressed out by the entertainment business because his life was attached to the success of his clients. Plus, he had a lot of people he had to take care of. You know, he had borrowed a $3 to $6 million loan from Warner Music in 2007 to start his company called Brand Asset Group. But the company failed to produce the success he was looking for. And the loan was due on August 22nd, 2000. And 8 days later, he was found dead.
Interesting, Warner. So he couldn't pay the loan. 8 days later, he was found.
So they got to the wife, and then the wife. Yeah.
Yes. Where I'm going, nephew. So we have so far established more than one suspect. We got the business partner, right, guys?
Yep.
We got Moni Love, according to Jaguar Wright, who neglected to go to her own family member's funeral and declared she has to be at Chris Lighty's funeral or her career's at stake. Right?
Interesting.
We got Leora Cohen, who maybe didn't like the fact that Chris Lighty resigned from Def Jam. We have Jimmy Henchman, was on some revenge type of ish. And he's in jail because he does go out and complete the task when it comes to some revenge, right?
Yep.
We have
I'm gonna X him out because he wasn't there when he died and shit. And all the other
Jimmy
evidence.
Henchman?
The circumstantial evidence. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't supposed to be there.
Jimmy
Yeah, we can ask him out.
He wasn't there.
But he wasn't supposed to be there. You know.
Can't put him at the crime scene. You see what I'm saying?
Right, but they didn't even look to see if he was there, though. From what I'm hearing, they didn't
look.
It
was only
no
the wife and her ex-husband, right? In the movie,
right? In the movers, in the movers, yeah. In the kids, allegedly.
Yeah, but the kids ain't gonna do nothing
because the movers said that. Right, I don't even know how old they are. So yeah, all right. Let's continue. We're almost at the end, guys.
And it's owned by a single gunshot wound to the head. Now, it was also reported that he owed $5 million to the IRS.
It could have been the
Other
IRS.
sources say he owed more than $300,000
Nah, they want their money.
to the IRS
Yeah, they do.
in
That's
unpaid
I
state
know.
and federal taxes. They say
Yeah,
the City National
they
Bank
gonna
had recently won a default judgment against him, claiming he bounced checks and ran up overdraft fees totaling $53,000.
Wow.
Now, his good friend rapper D Nice said Chris told him that he was so stressed that sometimes he feels like just jumping off a building, because a lot of people didn't know that just a year before, Chris had checked himself into a psychiatric hospital in Connecticut because he was dealing with depression and having suicidal thoughts. He was diagnosed with clinical depression. And you know, it's just sad because Chris had just tweeted about
now.
Scott LaRock on the anniversary of his death, August 27th.
Definitely some
3 days
spiritual
before.
warfare right there.
Now, at Chris's funeral, everybody was there. LL Cool J, Diddy, Missy Elliott, Q-Tip, Russell Simmons, Busta Rhymes, Mariah Carey, many more. Even 50 Cent and Fat Joe ended up squashing their beef for Chris Lighty, because Chris Lighty had love for both of them. You know, after his death, man, podcaster and former lawyer Reggie Osei, better known as Combat Jack, had did a great documentary on Chris called Mogul, The Life and Death of Chris Lighty, in 2017, which is on all streaming platforms if y'all want to check that out. And you know, rest in peace to Combat Jack. He died from colon cancer on December 20th, 2017, just 2 months after announcing he had been diagnosed with cancer. He died 6 months later after he released that documentary on Chris Lighty. Wow, that's crazy. You know, TV One had did a show on Chris called Celebrity Crime Files, which was good too. It's just sad, man, because Chris and Shakira Stewart were two of the most powerful music execs in the hip-hop community at the time. And both of them...
Guys, it is sad to see them both together. On the left is Shakira Stewart. On the right is Chris Lighty. Isn't it sad to see both of them together, and allegedly they both went out the same way?
Yep. Sure is. It's very sad.
Let me just throw this out there.
What a
There
coincidence.
are African American people, right? There are African American or American, you know, that do commit suicide. Don't get me wrong, but it's rare.
Yep.
The statistics, there you go, shows that it's very rare. So to have two very prominent African American men in the same business unalive themselves for similar situations, basically, is very hard to believe. That's all I'm saying. It's just weird. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is weird.
Yep.
Seems highly unlikely. The same way. You know, rapper David Banner had put out a tweet saying, when Chris Lighty and Shakira Stewart died, I was wondering if hip-hop was going to start talking about what's really going on. But we didn't.
Jag did.
That's what David Banner said in a tweet.
I like David Banner.
But you know, like I said earlier, man, I hope 50 Cent do a biopic on Chris Lighty's life. He should make it into a series, whatever. You know, 50 got that power to do that now. That would be dope if he did something on Chris Lighty's life.
Very dope.
Or a movie. A movie would be great on Chris Lighty because, you know, there's so much information on Chris that people don't know. I ain't even get to the
facts because they scrubbed the internet.
Man. There's so much information out there about Chris' life and what he has done for people. It's crazy. You know, I hope somebody put out a book about his life too pretty soon. Man, Chris was 44 years old, y'all. Only 44 years old. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Wow.
Wow.
That was a good job, Auntie Leah.
Yeah, exactly.
Really good job.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So what do you all think? What are you thinking? This is nuts, guys. And we're just now getting into, we haven't even, boy, shut the hell up. I'm on the line. Creed, sit down. Listen, y'all, he sat right down too, because he know mama speaks. You better shut up.
Uh-huh.
I love you, baby. It's okay, mama. But you in the background. But anyway, no, we're just now, we haven't even made a dent in this graveyard that hip hop has created, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're just going down rabbit holes, and it's so, all this stuff is connected. I don't know how, but my God, we're gonna try to figure this out together.
Yeah,
we're gonna try to figure this out together.
Yeah.
So it's only right that we go all the way to the beginning of the very first death in hip hop. Does anybody know who that is? I want to know, does anybody in the chat know who the very first death of the hip hop saga was?
You want to say what? Heavy D?
Nope.
Nah, before him.
Go back farther than that. The very first.
Nah.
You don't know. I don't really expect anybody in a different country to know. I'm gonna give this a couple of seconds, guys. Does anybody know who the very first sacrifice or death? Boy, leave that cat alone. Stop messing with the cat. The cat gonna whoop your ass like she do every day. Now, why you always want to fight with the cat? I'm sorry, y'all. My dog is silly.
Oh, Easy E.
He get beat up every day. No. Well, other than that, Jay, you was probably not even born, though. That's probably why you don't know that.
Of course I wasn't born.
I wasn't born. This was like when hip hop first came out. All right, guys. She gonna slap you up and you're gonna be crying. Leave her alone. You are not fast enough. Yeah, whatever. This dog
only
gets
said
slapped
Scott
up every day. Yeah. Who said
Auntie Leah.
Oh, Truth Only.
Good job, Truth Only.
Luke.
I think it's only fair that we start at the beginning. Since we've touched base with the executives that, were the sacrifices in the industry. Scott LaRock. That's going to be our next video. Do y'all homework. Scott LaRock was the very first hip-hop death. And did you guys hear during the video who was present? Who was present when Scott LaRock was unalive? Chris Lighty. Chris Lighty was there.
Wow.
This stuff is connected. It's connected.
Oh, it's all connected.
Some type of way.
It's all connected. And Auntie Leah,
so my question is, Chris, go ahead.
I don't know what's going on with you today, but we've been going for over 3 hours, and you look very fresh, very fresh, very awake, very alive. I don't know what's happening.
Look, Nick, I ain't doing this.
Yeah, you're not doing that yet.
I concur.
Listen, I took off yesterday, so I slept a long time yesterday. So that's why tonight I'm okay. So, but yeah, thank you for the compliment.
That's okay. Welcome.
I'm TV nodding. Oh, what did I? Yeah, don't be laughing at me, Nick. Just do it.
No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at me. It's me. It's me this time.
Listen,
and Jay's eating. He's making me hungry. I've had coffees and no food yet. Oh my God.
Yes, Truth, you got it. Okay, guys, so we're gonna end the live here soon.
Okay, Nick, blame it on Jay.
Blame it on Jay. Always.
You guys are crazy, but I really appreciate you guys being here with me on the panel with me. I really, really appreciate it. I really do. So make sure you come back for the next segment. We're gonna get into Scott LaRock. I'm not gonna say it's a whole lot of information out there, because he passed away way before the internet, right? Way before the internet. So we're going to try to dig up what we can because he absolutely was the very first death in this hip hop thing. And it's interesting that what a coincidence that Chris Lighty was present when he was unalive. So we're going to get into that. So if there's nothing else,
Good,
anybody else have?
Bilali.
What are you saying?
What are you? I don't know what he's talking about. He's happy. It's either pizza. I tell you what, Debbie, it's either pizza or chicken because that's all Jay eat.
It's pizza. It's chicken. I saw a bone.
Chicken. I have learned that about this young man.
It's freezing.
It's
freezing here. It's freezing
so
here, by the
chicken.
way.
Vegetables.
So is that chicken? Is that chicken?
Yeah, it's a wing.
I saw a chicken bone for sure.
So now what you got? Chicken and pizza?
Of course.
All he eats, chicken or pizza. All right, you need some vegetables.
It's so we're in winter here. We're on the 6th day of winter here, and it's absolutely freezing. It's cold and raining outside. It's a miserable day outside. It's terrible.
It was hot out here.
Nick, you know what? You better be happy while you can, because Auntie be going to sleep with pajamas on, waking up naked, because I be having hot flashes. So all I want is a breeze. I would welcome winter at this point in my life during the hot flash stage. So send me a breeze or something through this window, because I swear to God, I wake up with one sock on, one sock off. I got one shirt arm in and one titty hanging and one in. I mean, I'm gonna be saying one leg. Ain't no telling how I'm gonna wake up because the new hot flashes kick in. The way I went to sleep is not how I wake up. I be hot.
No.
This wet for no reason. This wet. I be mad as hell at menopause. Like, God, why? You know why? I mean, why we got to bleed for 30, 40 years and 40 nights. And now, after we get through bleed, now we go to menopause and got to sweat for 40 years and 40 nights. It's no goddamn sense now.
My mom had went through menopause.
Yeah.
She said there's a cream out in London. I'll have to ask one of my aunties that cools that down.
Okay.
It cools down the menopause.
But, you know, when I get to heaven, I know what I'm going to do. I'm whooping Eve's ass. Because if it wasn't for Eve convincing Adam to eat that apple, we'd all be all right. So she got an ass whooping coming from Auntie. When I get there, that's it. That's all. Anything else?
Barbara saying, can I explain an Aussie winter? Well,
yes.
It's not like a Canadian winter, but down where I live, it depends on where you live in Australia. So I live near Antarctica. So the wind, if the wind's blowing from the south, then it's pretty cold. It'll cut right through you. You know,
it will. I swear to God, just tell it to come through my window at night, because
you can have it all. Yeah, it was freezing in my bedroom last night, but I actually woke up hot, Auntie Leah. So
did you, man? I swear to God, that stuff the devil. I'm sick of him coming in on the videos, all in the technology, all on the internet, all in hot flashes.
So weird.
He's just everywhere. Ain't even invited to show up. Yeah,
that was so weird. You've got to play that. Listen to that again when this is over. Have a little listen.
Well, you would know. We're gonna do it together sometime this weekend. We're gonna dissect, see what happens together, Nick. We're gonna get on FaceTime on the WhatsApp, and we're gonna listen and try to figure out what happened. Okay.
All righty.
All right. Well, without further ado, I want to thank each and every one of you for hanging tight with me tonight. I know it was a little longer than what it normally is, but it was a lot to unpack in the story of Chris Lighty.
Sure was.
Write it down. Do your homework. DJ Scott LaRock is who we are going to tackle next week. I'm doing another video. Trying to get permission from the person that created about the demons that Jay-Z and Diddy allegedly conjure up and worship. So I'm working on that video now, and we hope to do it by Sunday. It's very interesting. It's very interesting to learn about who these guys worship. All right. So I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Anybody else got anything to say before I hit the intro?
Love you too. Your hair looks your hair looks fantastic, Auntie Leah.
Yeah, this is how it looks after it dries and you unbraid it. This is the look it gives. This is the look it gives. Thank you. I appreciate it. I had to suffer for those 3 nights because that stuff was hurting. It was tight. Tight on my scalp because you get twisted. You get twisted at the roots, and it hurts. Again, guys, I love you. Peace and blessings to all of you. I love you, and we'll see you this weekend. We're having another video. Hopefully, all of us will be on the panel again. Nick, we'll catch you on your next live. Queen,
no worries.
Golden Queen. Go ahead.
When you going live next, Nick?
Oh my God, yeah. Well, I think so. That's if I've got any hours left on my free stingy, stream out.
Just delete the videos.
Well,
save them.
They don't.
You can always use mine like.
They're not.
No, you can actually always use mine.
I was just going to say, Jay, on the free one, they don't store. So it just goes on. You get 20 hours a month, I think, of usage.
Well, you guys know that you are more than welcome.
No worries.
You're more than welcome.
You.
Just stream on mine if you need to. Just
my side said I only got 5 hours.
Yeah, but
after the 5 hours.
But how much have you used? You get 20 altogether. You get 5 hours of storage, but you get 20 hours of usage for free. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You're not using yours that much, mate.
Guys, I'm unlimited, so y'all can hop on. Pay attention, class.
We are.
You're being.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry, Auntie Leah.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm telling you guys, you can always use mine if you need it. Just let me know, and I'll give you the login. Okay?
No worries. All right. Thank you, love. All righty.
All right, guys.
All right.
Love you guys. See you guys
everybody.
soon. All right.
Bye-bye. Later on, Barbara. I'm going live. Bye-bye.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for coming. Please like, share, and subscribe. Come back again.